Welcome on in, guys. It is Three Bold Takes. Your favorite group is here. It's Chase, Freddie, and Quinn. And also, it's our favorite time of the year. You thought I was going to say Christmas, didn't you? I'm not. It's Bowl Mania season brought to you by Capital One, guys. So we have Bowl Mania as always, like we've been doing the past couple years. Three Bold Takes, 2025 Bowl Mania. The link is in the description. Go click that link. Join them with us. See if you can top the Three Bold Takes team.
I bet you can't. Guys, welcome on into Three Bold Takes. As we said in the intro, super excited. Bowl Mania, the very first bowl game of the year, the Cricket Celebration Bowl. As we know, this is always the first bowl game of the year. Two HBCUs always square up. It is Saturday the 13th at 11 o'clock between South Carolina State and Prairie View. So Chase, let's go to you first on kind of predicting this game and follow along at Bowl Mania with us if you'd like to. Link is in the description.
Guys always choose this game very, very wrong every year because I can't lie. I don't watch a whole lot of HBCU football, but the last couple years, it's always been the underdog that's really taken this one. I forget who won it last year, but I remember I was like, oh, he's got like a 10% chance. There's no way. I'm going with the big dog in this one. I think they ended up getting routed. So maybe it's just me and I shouldn't choose this game at all, but I'm still going to choose it this year. I'm going to do Prairie View A&M mainly because like their coach has really been putting it out on Twitter like, yeah, we just did this. They just won SWAC championship. I don't know. I just feel a lot of aura and swag from the Prairie View A&M team, and that's what I'm going to go with, and that's my choice. If you hate it, for you.
Yeah, Chase, I'll tell you why you always end up getting it wrong. You go with the record. Well, the issue with going with the record in this matchup is the MEAC is a lot deeper than the SWAC is. Plain and simple. And so the team that always comes out of the SWAC is like a 1 or 2 loss team, whereas out in the MEAC they get beat up a little bit more playing each other. But then they end up coming out being a much, much better unit sometimes with the Celebration Bowl. I'm taking South Carolina State. I just blanket always pick from the MEAC every single time. So give me South Carolina State to get it done.
Yeah, I'm gonna go South Carolina State as well. And Chase, I think that team was Florida A&M last year, or maybe in the year before that kind of had like a 7-8% chance to win. I say chance to
Yeah.
win. 7 to 8% people picked them, and
Yeah.
ended up blowing out the competition. So I do remember what you're talking about. But I'm gonna go South Carolina State mainly for the same reasons that Quinn said. Also, I've heard of them before. It sounds crazy, but I've heard of them before. So you can call me a casual all you want to, but that's all we are here is casual college football fans. So yeah, give us two South Carolina States and then the Prairie View for Chase. Lonesome by himself. All right, guys, moving on to the second bowl game here. We have the LA Bowl, the bucked up LA Bowl, hosted by Gronk, which is always interesting that Gronk is a host of a bowl game. Same thing with Snoop Dogg. We always find it funny here. But this year is between Boise State and Washington, which is going to be, I think, a very good game. Washington is favored by 8.5 points, over under a 51.5. It looks like already on Bowl Mania, 71% of people have picked Washington. Quinn, which way are you going here?
I love the Chris Peterson Bowl. This is going to be the best matchup of all time. Look, this is why some people hate on these wild bowl names, and I think some of it comes to do with general malaise of the bowl season and how it slowly died off. I love these crazy bowl games, man. They make me laugh. You're having a good time with it. I mean, look, conventional wisdom would tell you Washington's going to get this game done. They're going to get an easy win here, and they're going to move on. Yeah, conventional wisdom ain't worth a whole lot in the modern bowl season, though, is it, fellas? Boise State treats any bowl game like a huge deal. Now, obviously, if they're playing in the playoff or if they were playing in a New Year's Six bowl, that was an even bigger deal for the Boise State Broncos. Boise State really, really shows up in bowl season every single year. I like them to get it done here against Washington, get the big upset, and finish the year strong. Washington will get some valuable practice time out of this and get ready to make a run in 2026 inside of the Big Ten.
Yeah. I've actually been kind of a hater of Washington this year.
You
I've
have.
not been a strong proponent of them, but that's exactly why I'm going with them here. I've been such a hater of them mainly because they've just been so like average, I guess it is. I think they're a solid football team. They're not great. They're not bad. I think Jed Fish has done an okay job of picking up where DeBoer left off. It easily could have went to the ditch. It almost did. It looked like, but he has righted the ship. And I like Boise State, but Boise State has not been the Boise State of the past that we've known. They tried to fill Genty in a little bit, didn't really do too much. Had to pass a little more this season, lost a few different games. Weren't that strong, stout Boise State team we know to be. I'm going to go Washington pulling this one just to take care of business. This feels like a Wisconsin type win where it's just like like a 20 to like 7 or something like that, or 23 to 7, some weird score. So give me the Huskies.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Washington here too. I think they're actually a better team than 8-4 this year, and very similar to you guys as far as like impressed with what they've been able to do post DeBoer. Will they get back to what they were under DeBoer? Probably not. However, 9-3, 10-2 is possible for them. I really do like what they have going. And Boise State started off as being the group of 5 representative. Everybody had them making the playoffs this year. I said at the beginning of the year, it wasn't going to happen. You can't lose a player like they did and expect to go back to the playoffs. Had a lot of Boise State people comment saying, oh, the offense is better. The offense is better. You don't have to only run the ball. It's like, dude, shut up. Okay.
Shut up, dude.
You're not a good football team. You went
You're not.
9-4 this year. You did win your conference over UNLV. So congratulations to that. But I just don't think you are a good match for Washington. So I'm going to go Washington here as well.
Hey, I'm not going to take that slander. They're a good football team. They're just not an elite one.
Yeah, we'll see on Saturday the 13th at 7:00 if they're if they're a good football team or not. All right, guys, moving on to the Salute to Service Veterans Bowl. Okay, in Montgomery, Alabama, we have Troy, an Alabama team, of course, and Jacksonville State, an Alabama team, of course. So it's great. It's awesome. Troy's a 4-point favorite. Over under at 51.5. Looks like 74% of America's already chosen Troy in this game. Chase, are you riding with the Trojans or not?
Guys, you got to have some gumption to ride with Troy in this one. Sorry. They call it the Gump down there in Montgomery, if you didn't know. But at the Crampton Bowl, a fun, historic site to play at. It's really cool that this is just Alabama team, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely riding with Troy here. Jacksonville State plays in a very, very weak group of 5 conference in the CUSA, just through and through. And they've kind of limped by a lot of their competition. They did make it to the CUSA conference title game. They've lost that one to Kennesaw State, but they've kind of limped past some mediocre competition that if they were kind of slotted around to other group of 5 teams, I don't think they would do as well. I got some guys down there, Bryce Balch and Will Boley. Shout out to you guys, but I am going to take the Trojans in this one. So salute to them.
Yeah, shame on the Birmingham Bowl, man. I'm going to come at them real quick. You let the Crampton Bowl get the more appealing bowl game for the people inside of your state, with the runner-up in the Sun Belt Conference Championship, Troy, taking on the runner-up in CUSA, Jacksonville State. Real quick, this isn't about them at all, but shout out to Kennesaw State. What a turnaround this year, winning the CUSA. Now, as far as this game goes, you're never going to catch me picking Jacksonville State. I'm a North Alabama Lion through and through, and I can in the Jacksonville State Gamecock. Give me the Troy Trojans to win this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a clean sweep here for me, too. I'm going to go Troy. Fun fact, Troy almost beat JMU in their conference title. It was 17-14 for the longest time. Then Troy had a fumble that ended up being returned for a touchdown. I believe they had a block punt that was returned for a touchdown, too. So a lot of weird stuff happened there at the end of that game. Troy was very competitive, and they're a very, very good football team. So give me the Troy Trojans. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Moving on, guys, to Wednesday the 17th, we have a matchup between Old Dominion and South Florida in the Staff DNA Cure Bowl, I believe is what it is called. South Florida is favored by 6.5, over under 57.5, with 93% of America picking South Florida. Holy cannoli. Quinn.
This may be the only time in my entire life where I say that 93% of America is intelligent. I'm sorry, no offense to Old Dominion, man. South Florida's just been a much, much, much better team than you all year long. They've kind of limped into this position. I don't think Golish is coaching in this game. Correct me if I'm wrong. But either way, the talent level of South Florida is really high. I expect them to get this done. I don't like the name of this bowl game, though. It feels like a disease.
I know.
I am part of the 7%. I'm going Old Dominion. Well, my thinking is like Golish isn't coaching. We're about 8 days out from this game. We're recording on Tuesday, December 9th, if you guys don't know. I do think there are going to be some opt-outs. The biggest one probably is going to be the quarterback position because I feel like he's going to follow Golish to Auburn. So that's why I think that there are going to be a lot of transfer opt-outs by the time this game gets here. Golish isn't coaching. I'm going to go Old Dominion. They've been on a hot streak for the last 6-7 games. So I think they upset South Florida in this one. So I'm taking Old Dominion, guys. I'm doing it.
Fun fact on this game, it's interesting here that 97 or 93% of America picked USF, but the spread opened at 7.5, and it is currently at 6 for USF. So it is flipping a little bit. But Chase, it's Old Dominion. I'm rocking USF as well. I don't care if they do have opt-outs. They're still going to be more talented than Old Dominion is, and that's no disrespect. That's just level of play and conference prestige and location. All that stuff plays into that. So, Chase, you were part of that 7%. That's not smart. What?
Question is, if South Florida does win, what do they record their win on this time? They've done like a Roomba, a Ring doorbell, a DS. Like, what do you think? What do you think? That's the question, guys. So if you're doing this, if you're watching this video, comment what do you think South Florida records their win on this time?
I'll go with an Atari.
Wow. That's totally out there. I wouldn't even thought of that.
What about a Microsoft Connect?
There's
The Xbox Connect.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many options. Anyway, they've done an exceptional job down there in South Florida.
And moving on to another Wednesday game, 17th, 7:30. In the 68 Ventures Bowl, we have Louisiana, Raging Cajuns, come on, and Delaware, the Blue Hens. For those of you that did not know what that logo is, that is right up there. Really cool, kind of fun, interesting team name that you don't really see ever besides, one, Delaware. 81% of America is picking the Raging Cajuns. Chase, I'm very curious because you were one of those guys that's going to be out there and probably pick Delaware, so I want to hear why.
Oh, really?
Oh, Louisiana's favored by 3. I don't know if I said that or not.
Like the Blue Hens. I do, guys. They're fun. They're a lot of fun, but I'm not going to go with them here. I'm going to stick with the Raging Cajuns. The Delaware Blue Hens, guys. This is the one Group of 5 conference I know through and through. The CUSA is not a good football conference. Delaware is in year 1, year 2 of their like transition into full-time FBS level. So Delaware is still coming up. They've actually had a really good season. I was very surprised. I was like, man, I thought you were going to get wrecked. But on the road they did. At home, they pulled out some good wins, like Louisiana Tech 25-24. That's amazing, right? At Liberty was 59-30, though, not in their favor. So, Delaware wasn't great, and they have to travel to this one. They have to go all the way to Mobile. So I'm going to expect the Raging Cajuns to have a great fan base and also be able to pull out a win this one.
Hey, look, all I'm saying is Delaware is basically the ACC champs.
Yes.
They beat UConn. UConn beat Duke. That's all I'm saying. Like that, Delaware's basically the ACC champion. Might as well be. I mean, that conference is an absolute joke. That being said, I'm taking Louisiana to win the game. Home field advantage is going to be massive for the Raging Cajuns. What little bit of fans actually come to this game with how far they got to travel from Delaware is not going to play in the Blue Hens' favor. But, and here's what I'll give them if we are wrong about it. The reason we will be is that first time bowl experience, like just fire and tenacity that they'll bring to this. But Louisiana is one of those teams that just is a very safe bet in bowl season. They seem to always take care of business in their bowl games. So give me the Raging Cajuns.
And this game is in Mobile, Alabama, by the way. So quite a long ways to go for Delaware, not as far for Louisiana. Fun fact, Chase, you mentioned Conference USA is terrible. They came in 7th in the conference. Louisiana came in tied 4th in the Sun Belt. So if you had a little comparison there on conferences. Golly, dude. And what's got me concerned is the spread's only 3. That's telling me that Delaware's a lot better than maybe what we're aware of, at least for me, who don't spend a lot of time watching the Blue Hens play football. Just because of that, dude, I'm going to ride with the Blue Hens. Give me Delaware to win in Mobile. What an awesome and honestly, Quinn, you're the one that taught me into that simply because of the first bowl experience and all that. Like you, I appreciate you. If that comes to fruition, I owe it to you. So appreciate that.
Just don't blame me when you're wrong.
Oh, I will. You planted it in the brain. Guys, moving on to the not the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Actually, that is in the Capital One app. We figured out that the Xbox Bowl is not on Bowl Mania. So those of you following along, you will not find it on your list here. I'm not sure why. Maybe somebody can comment down below and let us know. But this bowl game is Thursday the 18th at 7:30 between Missouri State and Arkansas State. Arkansas State's a 2.5-point favorite. And unfortunately, I don't have the numbers on the America Pick and Who because it's not on Bowl Mania. But, Chase, I want to go to you.
Yeah, I've already gotten on here and said I think the CUSA sucks 3 times. Maybe I should tally it up from here on out. Missouri State is another one, just like Delaware. They just have joined the FBS ranks. They are a really, really good FCS team. If you don't know about Missouri State, you better go figure it out real quick. Really good team. They had another solid season. I was very excited to see how they played all season. And I'm going to go with them. Arkansas State and Butch Jones just do not seem to have a happy marriage right now. I do think Butch Jones is probably on his way out. I think he's probably playing for his job in this one a little bit. There's just been some kind of like turmoil, it seemed like, all season long with the Red Wolves up there and Butch Jones. So I don't think they've been all around like they have their head in the game. I think Missouri State is going to have, like, if you watched our Delaware video, Quinn and Freddie mentioned like that first time bowl game appearance, like that feeling you get. And I think Missouri State might grab it here and take it for a win.
Yeah, look, we know why it's not on Capital One Bowl Mania, and that's that Capital One has Sony stock. You heard it here first, guys. I'm breaking is anyway. Yeah, actually, Chase, you stole my take, and I'm gonna have to murder you when the video's over. Missouri State's gonna beat Arkansas State. I think they're gonna benefit from what I brought up with Delaware about the first time bowl experience, and it's because they got the fortunate draw of Arkansas State and not Louisiana. Arkansas not one of the better bowl performing teams, historically speaking. They typically fall flat on their face and embarrass the Sun Belt repeatedly in these situations against MAC teams or CUSA teams. And I like it to happen again here to first time bowl appearance team, Missouri State.
You know what? Let's just make it a clean sweep here. I'm going to go Missouri State as well because why not? I don't like Butch Jones. I've never liked his haircut. I don't think he's a good football coach. The whole 9 there. So give me Missouri State as well in the Xbox Bowl.
Bears are scarier than wolves.
That is correct.
Oh my.
Guys, back to the Capital One Bowl Mania. We have the Myrtle Beach Bowl, Kennesaw State and Western Michigan. Looks like Western Michigan's a 4.5-point favorite. Over under at 49.5, and holy moly, this is our first discrepancy between Vegas odds and all of America choosing these games. Kennesaw State looks like 63% of America has chosen them to win the game over Western Michigan. I think it's because they're 10-3 and not 9-4, but I don't know. Quinn, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't really understand why America's riding with the Owls. Look, I get they won this USA here. Western Michigan won the MAC. better conference. Like, just putting that out there. Yeah, they have an extra loss because they played tougher competition. So I like the Broncos to get it done here. I don't think Kennesaw State is gonna. But let's call a spade a spade. The CUSA is gonna get one, maybe two bowl wins, and this is not gonna be one of them. So give me Western Michigan to get it done.
You'll say hooty hoo and you'll like it. Kennesaw State's going to take this one. Let me tell you why. Through and through, a bread-winning team. I'm telling you, they know how to play ball when it comes down to it. They've been in the nitty-gritty. They've gotten the wins that they needed to. They have a stud at quarterback in Odom, and Jerry Mack has done an exceptional job at Kennesaw State. Last year, they were celebrating one win in like week 8, ended up with, I think, 2 wins, and now you're barely losing 3 games this season and winning the Conference USA championship. I mean, what are you? I mean, just all-time motivation train. I don't care who's on the Broncos. You can bring the National Guard, hooty hoo, all the way through.
I don't know how the National Guard's gonna help them win a football game, but okay.
Oh Lord, I'm going Western Michigan here. Kennesaw State, congratulations on your year. Fantastic year turning it around. I've loved their story over the past 3 years. I guess it is like it's always fun to see these programs do what they do and how they get there, especially when they're starting up a program or making a big transition. So really, really cool to see. But I think you're going to fall short here in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. And finally, I think we have a game. I love saying the name, the Gasparilla Bowl. I don't know why it just rolls off the tongue really well, and that's between Memphis and NC State. NC State is coming in at a 5.5-point favorite, and holy moly, this is the first time we've seen this. Exact 50-50 split, according to America, on who's going to win this game. Chase, are you going to agree with America? Well, you have to because it's 50-50.
Sorry.
Or are you going to be Chase and just say that they're going to tie? I don't know.
Yeah, this one's funny. I can't believe it is 50-50 because Silverfield's gone. Like your head coach is gone. You know, you've been in a whole head coaching search this whole time. Shout out, I hired Charles Huff. I really like that pickup, by the way. I think they're going to continue to be a very solid program. But you lose your coach and you're 50-50 with an ACC program who's been above average this season. They're okay. They're good. NC State, I'm very surprised. I really need to dive more into this. You know, I do all of my research so far in advance for these games, if you guys didn't know. So I'm just very surprised that I don't know all this information already. I'm just gonna side with the Power 4 program here. I'm gonna go NC State. I do like their quarterback in Bailey. ESPN does have Memphis with a 53% chance to win. I don't know if you said that, Fred.
I did not know.
So Memphis is favored to win per ESPN. And like Freddie says, typically they don't Vegas doesn't mess up things. So I don't know. This is weird. I'm just gonna go NC State and just stick with the Power 4 there. Quinn, I'll give it to you, buddy.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 split. It's red versus blue.
Oh, Quinn.
I'm gonna lean red. NC State wins.
What unbelievable analysis that is.
Breakdown.
I'm absolutely in love with
Is it not like that? It's bowl season, man.
No, you're right.
I can sit here trying to break this game down, and then 3 days before it, we're going to find out that a third of both rosters isn't playing, and then none of the analysis matters. Give me NC State.
Yeah, I'm going to ride with NC State as well. I think the loss of Silverfield is actually going to hurt Memphis pretty big because I'm very curious to see any opt outs that's going to try to go with him to Arkansas. I don't know of any off the top of my head that's been announced yet, but I assume that there will be some off the starting, especially offensive and defensive lines. So we'll see how that goes. But give me NC State as well. And we get to our first college football playoff game on Friday the 19th at 7 o'clock. We have a rematch between number 9 Alabama and number 8 Oklahoma here. Alabama is actually favored by 1.5 points in this ball game. Over under at 40.5, which, wow, that's a low number to me. But I think it's going to be very accurate here. Looks like 53% of America's chosen Oklahoma in this rematch. Quinn, let's send it over to you first.
Yeah, first take that under, man. And here's why I'll tell you why. Oklahoma has no offensive game whatsoever. Um, they are going to win off defense. They know that. Everyone who plays them knows that. Inconsistency at the quarterback position when it comes to throwing the ball downfield, lack of a serious run game, but just I think might be the best defense in America is what they have rolling on the other side of the ball. Now let's look at the flip side of that. Alabama's defense has actually been playing really well, really since I guess really since the SEC play started.
Yeah, I was gonna say since Vandy.
Yeah, they haven't really had a terrible, even the Georgia game where they gave up 28, it was on a lot of short fields and turnovers. Same thing happened in the Oklahoma game where it was turnovers, giving up short fields. Like their defense has been really, really good, but the offense has been so inconsistent since they beat Tennessee. I'm gonna break it down like this before I give an official pick. If Cuevas and Jan Miller are playing, I think Alabama will win the game. And the reason I feel that way, I know they lost to Oklahoma the first time around. I just don't see them having a 3 turnover game again. And I watched them almost triple the offensive production of Oklahoma. Oklahoma won that game off of 3 forced turnovers and short field position. I mean, they had one legitimate drive in that game. Meanwhile, on the flip side of that, Alabama's offense moved up and down the field. They just shot themselves in the foot with a lot of turnovers. And the turnovers that's really an outlier for the entirety of the season. Now, if they don't have Miller and Cuevas, they're not blocking Oklahoma's front seven, and they're going to lose. They're going to get like just bull rush death and have no chance of getting a throw off, and they're not going to be able to move the ball, and that'll be the game. I think Cuevas and Miller are going to be back from what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
So I like Alabama to squeak it out close over Oklahoma. I think a lot of people are selling them down the river based off of that performance against Georgia, which was a bad performance. But mind you, Oklahoma, the last time we saw them play, it took a busted coverage play with less than 3 minutes left to take a last-second lead over a very bad LSU team. So it's not like Oklahoma's been the best team in the world either. So I like Alabama to win.
You got to go to Norman. And I think the biggest thing with Alabama offense is the board is brought down as Washington offense, which is a pass happy, doesn't utilize your running back super well in it. You can't win Alabama football without running the ball. We saw that at Georgia. Like, it was just miserable. Jan Miller was hurt. Jan Miller, like, Alabama's never really been a one-back guy. There's always been a star back, but they've always been a back by committee. Look at Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy. TJ Eldon, Derrick Henry was right behind him. Damian Harris was in there. Kenyon Drake's all around. There's been a bunch of guys that have come through the doors, right? While Jan Miller, I think, is really good, why are the guys behind him so poor when running the ball? Is it the offensive line? Is it whatever? But I think what a lot of defenses has figured out about Alabama is you have to make them one-dimensional, which Alabama likes to do themselves already with how limited they run the ball, and put pressure on Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson loves some happy feet. I don't know if he watches the movie before every game about those Penguins, but he loves happy feet. He gets really nervous. Pressure's on him. He forces balls, or he just escapes too quickly a little bit. And I really hate saying that because I love Ty Simpson. I was really high on him to start the season, but when there's been pressure on him and he's been contained, it's just you get games like the Georgia game, like the Oklahoma game. And I think you get it again here. I think Oklahoma's going to put a lot of pressure on Alabama. I think that's the big thing. And the other thing is everybody listed in the SEC championship game how players were playing through ailments or they were injured and out of the game. There's like 20 players in which they expect to be fully healthy for this game. But how healthy are you? You know, this is the game to end your season or not, right? SEC championship didn't necessarily end your season potential. This is win or go home. So everybody's going to play. Jan Miller, 80%, you're going to play. Cuevas, hey, 50%, you're going to play. You're going to put everything on the line for this game. So how truly healthy? If they're all 100%, I'm kind of with you, Quinn. Alabama can pull this out. but I think they come in a little limited. I don't think they have a great plan. I think Ryan Grubb has really limited this offense as a whole. And I think Oklahoma ends up taking this at home.
So I like what you guys both said for the respective reasons why each one of these teams will win. One of the things I did like about the offense against Georgia, there wasn't a whole lot. One of the things I did like was that they tried to get Ryan Williams the ball. And that's something that not only helps your team explosively, but it also keeps one of your bigger draw players happy. If you're looking toward the future, that's what you want. And it wasn't like they forced him the ball and he didn't do anything with it. He actually had a very good game. Alabama did more than double Oklahoma's offensive production in the game in Tuscaloosa. You had the 3 turnovers. And Quinn, I'm glad that you brought attention to Alabama's defense actually playing really well, because I've been saying that for the past 2 months. Like, even though they're giving up points, a lot of it is not the defense's fault. Like, you can't expect them to hold people to 0 when the opponents start on the 30-yard line. Like that, you're never gonna win that battle. I think Alabama pulls out all the stops on offense, all the wrinkles. Did you guys notice that early on in the year there was more creativity when it comes to plays? And I don't know if that's because they wanted to try to find something or not, but it seems like they kind of went away from that. And one thing I noticed about Georgia was that they didn't even have to load the box at all. And that's why Ty Simpson struggled, because they would just drop back in coverage. And when you're dropping back in 8 personnel in the back, like, you're not going to throw for a lot of yards. You're going to have to run the ball and force them to load the box. Well, Alabama can't do that. And I think it's a multitude of reasons. The offensive line's too heavy. They're not mobile. They're not athletic. All the things. It's the reason why the number one place that Bama gets sacked from is on the edge, because the tackles are slow. That's just the way it is. And because they're slow, even the guards, they can't pull well enough. So a lot of issues in the offensive line, which I believe they just fired their offensive line coach. So that definitely speaks to that as well. I don't think Alabama repeats 3 turnovers. And Oklahoma's offense is very anemic. So I think Bama does win this game. It's a very tight game, just like it was the first time, a 2-point ball game. I think it'll be tight as well out there in Norman. Moving on to the second college football playoff first round game, we have the team that barely made it in, Miami, traveling to College Station to play Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 4-point favorite at home, over under 51 and a half. Looks like 80% of America has picked Texas A&M to win this game over Miami. So Chase, is that why? Like, I'm just curious.
Probably because they have one of the nastiest set of defensive linemen in all of college football. Cassius Howell. I think if there was a way a tornado and a hurricane could have a love child, it would be Cassius Howell. The way he gets around linemen is something unbelievable. It's that I'll rival it of Myles Garrett. He's strong up front. He can bull rush. He can absolutely sideswipe you. He can spin around you. He's quick as a hiccup. Like, I absolutely love watching this kid play. And I think he's wonderful. And this team has been absolutely amazing at home all season long. Don't get me wrong. Now, the biggest caveat with Texas A&M, they win 11-1. Look at the record. Chase, they're so good. Yes, they are. But a lot of competition. But it is always more than an ACC schedule, so we're okay there. Check. But Texas A&M, what I do love about them, they've overcome a lot this season. It's not been, oh, we won by 40 every game. Let's go back to the Notre Dame game, who Notre Dame ended up being a very solid team this season. They won that one by a point in the first 3 weeks of the season. The South Carolina game, that's the biggest one. I think teams were like 0-270 something, were losing by 30 at halftime. I don't know, something crazy. Came back, won that one 31-30. So Texas A&M has faced a lot of adversity. This is a very good team. Marcel Reed is a very good quarterback. Came on late in the season as well. They had a hiccup against Texas at home. Could have been playing the SEC championship. But if I'm them, this is perfect. Like, you lost the final game to Texas. You didn't play in the SEC championship. You're going to be fully healthy for this game and a potential run. You're probably one of the 2 teams not in the top 4 that had buys that have a chance to make a run here. And I think Texas A&M is gonna do that here, and they're gonna start with a pretty good it's gonna be like a 24-10 game, something like that, 30-17, but Texas A&M is gonna handle the Hurricanes inside of, Kyle Field.
Look, I mean, the reason 80% of America's going with A&M is pretty simple. I think this game boils down to quarterback play. I know that's whoa, what a bold take, but there's one of 3 results. Either, I guess technically one of 4. Either both quarterbacks play like garbage, in which A&M has a better defense and I trust them to get the win. Both quarterbacks played at their best level, in which A&M has a more explosive roster of offensive talent along with a better defense, so they'll win. Marcel Reed plays bad, but Carson Beck plays good, in which I think that's Miami's path to actually win this game, is if they get a good Carson Beck game and Marcel Reed has a first half South Carolina or a Texas performance in which Miami would, I mean, they're talented enough to beat A&M in that scenario. Or the final one, which is where this gets real lopsided. Marcel Reed plays his normal game, but Carson Beck is bright lights Carson Beck.
4 turnovers.
Yeah. And personally, I feel like that might be the route we're heading to. I think a lot of people are sleeping on A&M, and I just have this gut feeling they're going to get a pretty easy W over Miami, and the Notre Dame should have been in conversation will just get louder. But give me A&M to get the win here.
I'm gonna go different. I'm gonna go Miami to win.
Battered Aggie syndrome.
Yes, and I just I haven't liked what I've seen from A&M over the past 4 games. I just haven't. Now, yes, you won them all but Texas, right? Like Chase, you laid it out. South Carolina game, all the things, but we can't deny that in a lot of those games, especially Texas too, you start slow, right? And in the college football playoff, if you start really slow against a team at Miami, they can put up points pretty quickly. Like they do have an explosive offense. Now, A&M's defense is pretty good. You played the bottom 6 teams in the SEC, and then you throw Texas in there, which you lost to. I think Miami gets it done. I think Texas A&M, they're playing at home. Granted, I understand. It's 11 o'clock game, so it's a little bit different than a night game. I like Carson Beck. I mean, he puts up video game numbers when he doesn't. And that's the thing about Carson Beck. And Quinn, I think we talked about this. He doesn't just throw 1 interception. He throws 3 or 4 in a game. If he throws 1, it's over because there's more to come. He can't throw 1 and keep his mental game sound. It's so easy to rattle this guy. But that's why I think Miami, if they can start quick and start fast, I think they have a chance to get them, and I think that they do. So give me the Hurricanes here. Guys, moving on to another college football playoff game. We have number 6, Ole Miss, hosting number 11, Tulane. We've already seen this game once this year. Looks like Ole Miss is a 16.5-point favorite in this one, over under 56.5, and 92% of America has picked Ole Miss. Quinn, let's sling it to you first.
Yeah, well, I'm going to ride with that 92% of America. I do think Ole Miss is going to win this game. However, I've seen a lot of the narrative around the game hyperfixating on the 35-point loss in Oxford earlier in the year on Tulane's part. I do think this game is going to be one of those games that, like, at halftime, everyone's going to be tweeting, like, oh my goodness, can Tulane actually do it? Lane Kiffin abandoned Ole Miss. This is what happens when a coach stays with his team. Hashtag John Summerall strong, or whatever BS they want to tweet out at halftime of this game. And then Ole Miss's talent will actually pull away in the back half of the game and they'll win. But I do think Tulane will actually hang with them in this game. Not to spoil our later pick, unlike a different game in this opening round of 4 games, I do think that Tulane will hang with Ole Miss. And I wouldn't be surprised. I think the closest game is going to be Alabama-Oklahoma, obviously. but I would not be surprised if the second closest game in the opening 4 is this matchup. They give me the Rebels to get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you a lot here, Quinn. I do think Tulane hangs around in this one. Summerall is one of the coaches that is sticking around and coaching his team through it. From what I understand, all the players are also playing in this game. I haven't heard of any transfers yet or anything, so that's another big thing. Tulane's here to play. It's not a, hey, we got in, that's our accomplishment, pat ourselves on the back. They're here to play. You got to remember who the quarterback is. Rhett Slap, who's at BYU, was leading BYU last season. He got picked up late in the offseason for Tulane. It's been a huge pickup for them. 11-2 on the season, a really, really strong team. They did lose to Ole Miss earlier in the year. Sure, that's cool. This is a totally different Ole Miss team. They are so out of sorts right now. You lose Lane Kiffin, not Pete Golding as head coach. For some reason, you made him permanent. I don't know. So they're trying to figure everything out. Like, how are they going to run their scheme? What are they going to do? Because Lane Kiffin was probably also a big time play caller and all that, or had a lot of say in how the offense was ran during the game. So what is Pete Golding going to do? Definitely a defensive minded head coach. So is he even going to have any say in the game? How differently is the Ole Miss offense and stuff going to run? Is it going to be high power? Is it going to be kind of taking it back? So I agree with you, Quinn. I think Tulane is going to hang around in this game so much so that they win it. I'm going full Summerall and Tulane in this one. I think they upset mainly because Ole Miss is just out of sorts right now. You got to remember, this is still very, very fresh for Lane Kiffin. I know, or the Rebels that Lane Kiffin left. I think Tulane does it. I love the story of Summerall so far. I think he's going to continue to push that train up the hill, the little engine that could. And I think they get an upset win here.
Hey, Freddie, I think the reason he was taking so long to get back on camera is because he was hanging out with his little stash there. You need to share some, bud, because that's crazy.
I don't know. I'm a big proponent in bowl season of coaches and players leaving, and this is the biggest one. Like Lane Kiffin, probably a top 3 coach in college football, leaving your program. You think it's gonna? I mean,
Freddie's offended by that statement.
Definitely. Honestly,
he's
the best
barely
offense.
top. He's barely top 3 in the SEC. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Ole Miss, like, I just don't think, and I don't have any faith in Pete Golding. I'm a huge hater of Pete Golding. I know that Lane Kiffin really liked his defense with Pete there, but I don't know. I don't see it. I think Tulane gets it done. I think they are upset.
Yeah, no. Ole Miss wins the game. I do think Tulane covers the 16.5 though. Interesting that pretty much the entire offensive coaching staff came back to Ole Miss from LSU after that whole rumor that Lane Kiffin said, you either come with me now or you're not coming and whatever. Well, they're all back. Play callers, quarterback coaches, all the things are back for this game for Ole Miss. And listen, I'm not a big Pete Golden fan either. I didn't like him when he was at Alabama. I think there's a reason why he left. However, I just think they're too talented compared to Tulane. Now, I do agree with you guys for the hyping up Tulane and the Summerall and the players staying and the coach staying and all that, and that's very respectable, and I'm glad that they're doing that. And this shows that it can be done when both parties are mutual and you're not leaving for a rival. So that's no shade at Ole Miss, honestly, no shade at Lane Kiffin either. It's just the way it is. But I think Ole Miss definitely gets it done, but I do think Tulane covers.
Hey, I will say this: if Tulane does get it done, Chase, that'll give them basically a home game against Georgia. Just saying, maybe they do double upset.
Okay.
They do it. They'll beat Georgia.
That's insane. Now the next college football playoff game, which honestly, we don't even really need to talk about it. I mean, shout out JMU for making the college football playoff. That's a huge deal for them and their conference as well, getting paid. So congratulations to them. However, you're playing Oregon. You're a 21-point dog on the road Saturday the 20th at 6:30. Looks like, 96% of America has picked Oregon in this one for good reason. Chase, go ahead.
Yeah, Quinn usually gets on here and he's like, hey, there's a reason 96% of America chose this. I'm just going to agree with the 96% of America here, Quinn. I'll save it for you. I'm not going to go. with the 4%. Shout out JMU. Congrats on your season, but this is where it ends. I think you could honestly put probably the cutest looking puppy in front of Dan Lanning in the Oregon Ducks right now, and it's going to get thrashed. He doesn't care who's in the way.
Since
And I really hate this for JMU because it's going to be, you called it out in one of the earlier games we talked about, Quinn, but the Oregon Liberty game in the NY6 Bowl a few years back, I think Oregon's going to do it again. I think you're going to see 35, 40 points put up on the board, and JMU very limited. They also lost their coach who went to UCLA. They're going to be a little mismanaged as well. But if you guys didn't know, a little fun fact, Matthew Saluka from UNLV last year that left because he didn't get his NIL money, he was in the college football playoffs. Congrats to him as a backup quarterback at JMU. Awesome. Congrats, man. You got your money, though. Anyway, I'm going to take Oregon in this one.
did he? I don't even know if he really did.
He is on. Well, yeah, about the money, I don't know, but he is at JMU.
I'll say this: their coach is coaching him through the
Is
play.
he?
Yes,
Let's go.
is. So both Summerall and the coach at JMU are hanging through. Little fun fact for you: BCS started with the 1998 season. What I call the major postseason was a BCS bowl game or a national title. And when we went to the 4-team era, it was making the playoff or playing it in your 6 bowl, and now it's just making the playoff field. James Madison will be the first Sun Belt team to ever make the major postseason. And they're the youngest Sun Belt team.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to the Dukes, man. And if you're North Dakota State, maybe you start thinking about coming up and joining the CUSA or the MAC or something like that, maybe the Mountain West Conference, because look what JMU's doing is a very short amount of time. I mean, they joined and now they run the Sun Belt. Like, that's kind of how that has went down for the Dukes. Now, enough fun. Y'all remember Oregon, Oklahoma State in week 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna happen again.
Oh.
No.
I mean, I'm just telling you the trick. Chase is completely correct. Like, you could put just 12 of the most adorable little baby steals in front of Dan Lanning's team, and they would butcher them right national
it's over.
and laugh while they do it. Like, that man's psychotic. They're not gonna take any prisoners. Here's the one thing that's gonna save JMU from complete and total, like Oklahoma State or the Liberty example, complete and total annihilation, is when Oregon jumps on them 28-0 in the first quarter, they're gonna pull off, start doing just practice reps, and get ready for the Texas Tech game. Like, that's realistically what, and I feel bad for Tech because Oregon's essentially getting a warm-up scrimmage game knowing they're going to play you next. They're not at that. They're going to go through the motions of saying they're respecting their opponent, and no, they're not. Yeah. This is a warm-up game to get ready to play Texas Tech, and Texas Tech is going to come into that game cold. Watch out, Red Raiders, because you got a very unlucky draw in this one. Give me the Ducks to win this.
Yeah, they're going to do the respectful thing and talk about their opponent and congratulate them and this and that. And then the audio is going to leak of Dan Lanning in the locker room telling them that they don't know who they're playing, that they have no business Steven stepping on the same field as Oregon, the whole 9 that he does, which, hey, it works. You know what I mean? And for the most part, he's right in everything that he says whenever he gives those speeches. The Ducks are going to roll. It's not even going to be a question. I think they cover the 21, to be honest with you. I really do, and I would probably take the over of the 50.5 as well. I don't know. We talked about the Ole Miss and Tulane game, and it was a totally different conversation than this one. So if you haven't watched that one, guys, go watch that one. It's not going to be close. And I think this may prove that, or this may start the conversation of allowing a max of one group of 5 team that gets in unless they're ranked in the top 12 already. I don't know. It's an interesting conversation, but yeah, sorry, JMU. Congratulations for making it, but not going to happen. Now, one of the better named bowl games, in my opinion, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. We have Washington State and Utah State, This game's Monday the 22nd at 1 p.m. Looks like, let's see, do I have this right? It's actually wrong on the screen. Utah State is favored by 3 points currently. It opened as Washington State favored by 1.5, but has since flipped to Utah State being favored by 3. So apologies for the graphic being wrong. Looks like 71% of Americans pick Washington State to win. So interesting there. Quinn, we'll go to you first for this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. I've only watched one of these teams play one time, and it was when Washington State showed up and played in the most normal Lane Kiffin slop fest game I've ever seen in my life, where they stuck around for 4 quarters with an Ole Miss team that they had no business playing with. Um, from my understanding, Washington State's been pretty inconsistent back and forth throughout the year, as to be expected from a team in like Power 5, Power 4 limbo right now. Utah State, pretty consistent outfit out of the Mountain West Conference. I do like feeder teams at like a massive travel disadvantage. This is actually a really good neutral site game for a team from Utah versus a team from Washington. Oh, why not? I'm gonna go with the Cougs. They played a good game against Ole Miss. Give me Washington State.
Yeah, this kind of feels like a pick 'em, but shout out to Washington State for basically winning their conference on a technicality. They did tie 1-1 with Oregon State, but Oregon State had a 2-10 record, and you had a 6. Congrats, Cougars, winning the Pac-12. I'm proud. How much just pay for this?
Wait a minute. Did you say 1-1? Did they play each other twice?
Yeah, I guess so.
What?
1-1 in conference play. Yeah, they did. They lost to Oregon State at Oregon State 10-7 in November. They played them again on the 22nd or 29th and won 32-8 at home.
That's
unreal, dude. That this season. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I didn't even catch that, Quinn. So great catch. Yeah. This has been so. Oregon State has 2 wins, and one of them is never mind. Never mind. But I don't really know. This is just one of those pick'ems. Like Washington State still hanging on to the Pac-12. I'm going to go Utah State for fun. Maybe they'll have a great time and win this game. I don't know. We'll go with that.
Washington State lost to Oregon State. I'm picking Utah State. That's all I'm saying to that one. It's
also Oregon State. So
they did. They did, but they also lost 10-7, which is an ugly game here. But shout out Utah State here. I think they're going to get the dub. That's an insane pull there, Chase, that they played twice.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The Pac-12. Moving on to the Boca Raton Bowl. We are looking at who's this? Oh, Toledo.
Shout out
the Rockets. Yeah, Toledo and Louisville to be exact. Louisville's a 9.5-point favorite. Over under 46.5. Looks like 94% of Americans picked Louisville. Chase, I guess we'll go to you first here.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Lou putting it on the SEC in the final week of play over Kentucky, 41-0. Toledo, always a really good Maction team, a lot of fun. They also put out some respectable players into the NFL. So if you don't know, kind of follow some Toledo guys. But I think through and through right here, this should be Louisville. Should be Louisville's game. I think it's gonna be one of those close games. But don't get me wrong, Toledo, ACC teams, bowl games, it gets wicked out there. Last year, Pittsburgh, what did they go to? 4 overtimes, I think, and there was like a whole bunch of missed kicks or something. Everything happened. I remember I was at home with my family eating, and I was like, oh my gosh, we cannot leave this restaurant until we finish this Toledo game. I was like, it's in overtime, we got to watch. Oh, it's in second overtime. We got to keep watching. It's in third. Nobody move. And I was just watching Toledo. They ended up being, that was a lot of fun. I think it was like 49 to like 6, something. I don't know. But through this should be Louisville's game. I know they dropped a few games in November, but they should easily beat up on Toledo here. But I keep saying a lot of buts because there's a but here. Never know with the Rockets, But I'm going to go Louisville. But when it's your turn. But
yeah, I would be like easily leaning Braum and Louisville if they were playing any other G5 team other than Toledo. Toledo is like the scariest G5 team you could possibly draw. For whatever reason, they just always punch way above their weight class. But I was sitting here trying to decide, like, how am I going to lean? Have y'all ever driven through Toledo, Ohio?
Can't say I have.
I have. Potholes everywhere. And it's just gray and dreary, and traffic's always backed up because they're doing 24/7 road construction. Meanwhile, Louisville, have you ever driven there through night, like at nighttime?
Dude, it's scary.
Gorgeous, man. I love
It is, but it's also scary.
Man, I don't know. I actually kind of think Louisville's really pretty. I compared to driving through Toledo, where I was afraid that like my entire tire was going to just pop off the car.
See, that's fair. I'm saying it's scary because it's a lot of windy roads. The roads are real tight. The interstate's
Yeah.
tough. It is pretty though.
It's really pretty, and so I'm going to go Louisville.
Nice.
Because Toledo's roads suck.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I had that right there.
That-
Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm gonna go Louisville as well. I think they're more talented. They have the better coach. But just like Chase said, this could be a sneaky one. Very, very sneaky with Toledo here. I might be taking a peek at this one on the 23rd. I might have it on the TV screen. And next up, we have the New Orleans Bowl here. Funny enough, for some reason, this bowl does not have a title sponsor. Most all bowls have a title sponsor. This is just sponsored by the city of New Orleans. No company sponsor. And because of that, we got, listen, Western Kentucky, another G5 team that's pretty dangerous against Southern Miss. Western Kentucky's favored by 4 points over under 5.5. Looks like 84% of America has picked Western Kentucky, and I think it's because most people know Western Kentucky. Chase.
Yeah, another CUSA team. Yeah, Southern Miss did have a good turnaround season. They lost their coach to Memphis. I don't know if he's coaching this game, but shout out Charles Huff. I love what he's done. Will Hall the season before couldn't win more than I think like 4 or 5 games. He gets fired. Charles Huff is like, hey man, if I'm not mistaken, he went from Marshall to Southern Miss, and I believe Marshall won the conference, the Sun Belt last year, or their side of the conference, if I'm not mistaken. And so he went from like first to worst and taking Southern Miss, and he's given them a respectful record, 5-3 in conference this season. They dropped their final 3. But I honestly think it looks a lot like, a lot of people are like, oh man, Western Kentucky or whatnot. Like they haven't been good. Their offense has been high flying, but their defense has been a little soft. I don't think this should be as close as it is. And the 50-50, I think it's Southern Miss all the way. I know the record's a little worse. I know, but like the Sun Belt's a better conference. And then also I think Southern Miss has done a really good job, except for the slip up in the back half of November. But I think they're going to pick it up here against them. A tough offense, but overall should be a movable team in Western Kentucky.
Here's what I'll say about it. Southern Miss, if you were asking me to pick this game, say they were hypothetically playing at the beginning of November, I'd have went Southern Miss full throat because they had a really good showing against Mississippi State, and they were dominating in conference play until the backslide there at the end of the year. But that's why I'm leaning Western Kentucky, man. Western Kentucky, I mean, you say they got a high flying offense, but no defense. That's just Western Kentucky. I don't know what you mean.
That is true.
That's
True.
like football for 20 years. So they just seem to be this team that just shows up, plays really good in their bowl game, wins it, and goes home. Like that's just kind of been their mantra. I've been wrong a couple times picking on Western Kentucky in bowl season, but similar to Louisiana, they do me good more than they do me wrong. So I'm going to go with the Hilltoppers here. I think really what's hurting Southern Miss is the backslide in November, and now their coach accepted them a new job. I think there's just going to be a lot of self-doubt and a little bit of lack of consistency when it comes to prepping for this game that Western Kentucky's just not going to be dealing with. I like the Hilltoppers to get the win.
Yeah, the backside you was talking about there, Quinn, was 3 straight losses to Texas State, South Alabama, and Troy. Western Kentucky, their last 3, fun fact, Chase, they destroyed Middle Tennessee State 42-26. Narrowly lost to LSU 13-10, 3-point loss there, and then a 3-point loss to Jacksonville State. So, I mean, Western Kentucky's been playing some good ball. I'm going to ride with the Hilltoppers as well over Southern Miss. I've just always enjoyed watching Western Kentucky. I've always enjoyed keeping up with them and seeing what they can do in bowl season and what they can do against Power 4 competitions, i.e. the LSUs of the world. 3-point loss there. Narrowly lost. So give me the Hilltoppers. It should be a fun game. It always is. And on Tuesday, the 23rd at 8 o'clock, we have the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl between UNLV and Ohio. UNLV comes in as a 4-point favorite, over under 62.5. Wow, 90% of America has picked UNLV in this one. Quinn, I want to sling it to you first.
Yeah, first, not sponsored, but I love me some Scooters Coffee, man. They're right down the road from where my wife works. Every time I go there to like get the baby or whatever I need to do with her, I always stop and get a cup of coffee there. Little sugary, but it's okay. Um, as far as these two teams go, look, I love me some Bobcats football, but the Mountain West Conference is so much better than the MAC. It's not even funny. Like the Mountain West is the only G5 league that actually lines up with the American, and it gives me belief that they could actually win head to head with the American on a consistent basis. So give me UNLV. I like the Rebels in this one.
Man, look at the teams and look at the records here. Do you remember where we were basically week 0? UNLV barely made it across against like an NAIA school in Idaho State. And now they're sitting here 10-3. Shout out Dan Mullen. You got to remember UNLV when Dan Mullen got in was just an overhaul of everything. Getting all your transfers in, getting all the new people there. Your big quarterback from last year left because of the whole discrepancy with this NIL. So just a lot of that. So, but they turned it around, had a great season. They lost to Boise State in the last game of the year, I believe it was, at Boise State. So not a great way to finish, but I think they ultimately put a stake in the season and get a win here over Ohio to finish out the 2025 season. And I'm not a big Freddie talked about this on the channel before, but I'm not a big proponent of dipping back into the old well of coaches and dipping back into Dan Mullen, who's out of coaching, who's on a broadcast desk, and he's coming back in. I didn't think he was going to do too hot, definitely after week 1. But hey, man, shout out to you. 10-3 in your first season, group of 5 team in UNLV, and you've done a good job. You set yourself up successfully for the future, I think.
Yeah, shout out Dan Mullen. A lot of people had UNLV to make the playoffs as the Group of 5 representative. I know I did after like week 3 or 4. You did have a couple of slip ups there, but overall great season. Therefore, I'm going to go UNLV as well over Ohio. Which, by the way, Ohio's colors, man, I'm just not a green guy, but holy mackerel. And that's just catching a random stray there for Ohio. So I apologize to all of the Bobcat fans, but yeah, you're going to lose this one. And arguably the greatest destination for a bowl game. Actually, it's not even arguably. It is the greatest destination for a bowl game. It's the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl between Cal and Hawaii. Cal's a 2.5-point favorite. And it's interesting. I've always found it awesome to me that Hawaii gets to play in their own stadium for their bowl game. Like, I think that's awesome. I think it's cool. So let's see, over under is 55.5. 68% of America is going with the Golden Bears of Cal. Quinn, are you a Rainbow Warrior guy, or do you like you some Golden Bears?
Well, before I is the Bahamas Bowl not a thing anymore?
I don't think I saw it on the list this year. I could be mistaken, but
Because if it's still a thing, that's a better destination than the Hawaii Bowl. No offense to the Hawaii Bowl. I'm just saying, like, come on, it's the Bahamas. Now, as far as this game goes, look, you know I love me some Rainbow Warriors football, but the Golden Bears, I owe it to the Golden Bears to pick them, and I'll tell you why. 3 bold takes, faithful. The Golden Bears made it possible for me and Freddie to look like geniuses.
facts.
If it was not for the Cal Golden Bears beating SMU, Duke is not the ACC champion, which we were calling for before Duke even lost their 5th game of the season. So because of that, because I owe you for what you've done for me, Cal, I'll pick you in the Hawaii Bowl over the Rainbow Warriors, even though my heart knows what it wants, and it wants a Hawaii victory. I'm taking the Cal Golden Bears.
This is a very interesting quarterback battle, guys. On one hand, you have Alejado, who I thought, has had a pretty respectable season for Hawaii. I mean, 8 wins for Hawaii, guys.
Pretty good.
Saying ball is back. It might be. But on the other hand, you have, give me 1 second here. Sagapolo Tele, the on-3 true freshman All-American. How about that? Did you guys know that? On-3 true freshman All-American. Nobody was focusing on that, were they? I was. Anyway, this is going to be a lot of fun. I have heard, I'm going to call him Saga potentially wanting to be entering into the transfer portal. So don't know if his mind is there. I think he is playing in this game, though. We are about 16 days out from this game right now, currently, or 15. Sorry, can't count. So anything could happen. But I think this is a lot of fun. If Saga's playing, I'm going Cal all the way. But I'm going to go Hawaii and Alejado. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I watched Hawaii week 1 because it was that boring, or week 0, whatever it was.
Next week 0.
Who did he walk down? Let me go back and look at that team real quick. I'm sorry. 5 seconds. He walked Stanford down on one leg. And I was like, this kid is going to be a bad. And then they lost 40-6 the next week. I was like, dang, there goes Hawaii. Like, he came back. So, 8-4. Shout out Hawaii. I'm going to go him and Alejado.
Shout out Cal. Quinn, I have to ride with you here. I have to. So give me the Golden Bears. I do think Hawaii might win. But I do owe them in giving them another percentage point on the Capital One Bowl Mania. Probably, I have such a big draw on this app, it probably bumped it from 68 to 69. Nice. Just because I was the one that chose Cal. Yes, you heard me right. And moving on to the Game Above Sports Bowl. Yes, okay, the Game Above Sports Bowl. Had to make sure I got that right. Central Michigan, Northwestern. Northwestern's a 12.5-point favorite with an 86% chance to win. 86% of America chose them. They have a 78% chance to win, according to ESPN Chase.
I don't like this one. Well, I mean, what is there to say? I'll just tell you this. This is your classic group of 5 against Power 4. That is a below average Power 4 team. And it's going to get really weird. Like, it's going to be like one of those where Northwestern pulls it out 20-19, or Central Michigan's going to win like 29 to like 15. It's going to be something weird in there. I'm going to go, oh man, frick. Oh, I was about to say Central. Oh, I don't know what it was. Honestly, before we came onto this game, I didn't know Northwestern still had a football team. That's kind of the level we were at. So sorry to be disrespectful to the Wildcats. So for that, I'll take you here. I'll take Northwestern in this one, guys. I'll make it easy.
Yeah, no, dumb bowl game name. Oh, I hate this bowl game name. That 14% that picked Central Michigan, let's just call it what it is. It's comprised of 3 groups. People who don't understand that teams aren't exactly what their records are and don't know how to tell the difference between a MAC school and a Big Ten school. They're Central Michigan alumni who are bleeding Chippewa Nation. Or they bought a Connor Stallions outfit a couple years ago for Halloween, started playing with them on NCAA, and so now they're just riding with them. That's the only 3 groups of people that are picking Central Michigan in this game. And I will say this, though. Chase is on to something. There's always one Big Ten versus MAC bowl game that's like ugly as all get out, and the Big Ten team escapes of their life, and every now and again they lose. That's going to be this matchup, but I still like Northwestern to get it done.
Yeah, I don't think there's a chance that Central Michigan can beat Northwestern. So give me Northwestern as well. Shout out to Wildcats for making another bowl game after what happened to their program not too long ago. They really turned it around. So shout out to them. Now the next bowl game, I'm going to have to make sure I say right because we're on YouTube and I don't want to get censored. The Rate Bowl, RATE Bowl, Rate Bowl, New Mexico.
Oh my God.
Hey, hey, hey,
Crazy.
hey, I've seen it. I've seen it happen. Okay. I have seen it happen. The Lobos and Minnesota. Minnesota's a 3-point favorite in this one, over under 47 and a half. Minnesota's got a 72% chance to win. Actually, excuse me, 54% chance to win, but 72% of America has picked them. Quinn, let's go to you first.
Yeah, this is a home game for the Lobos, all things considered. I mean, Minnesota's got to travel really, really far. Folks in the Great Lakes state don't like the hot very much. That's what New Mexico is. It is like the polar opposite of Minnesota. There is no moisture and there's nothing but heat. Like you cannot get any more different. I don't know. Give me the Lobos. Why not?
Yeah, this one's actually super easy. Chase, why is it super easy? Minnesota hasn't won on the road this season, guys. Goodness gracious. Cal lost 27-14. Ohio State 42-3. Iowa. Let Iowa score 41. 41-3. Oregon 42-13. Northwestern 38-35. I think it's going to be the Lobos as well, man. I'm going to go with them. I know you got this like, oh, it's Power 4 though. That you should choose them. Yeah, it's Minnesota. Let's go to New Mexico. Let's have fun with it.
So, fun fact: New Mexico's on a 5-game win streak.
Yeah, they are.
They start off the season, what is that, 4-3, and then rattled off 5 straight against Utah State, UNLV, Colorado State, Air Force, and San Diego State. 3 of those teams we've already talked about in bowl games. So playing some pretty good competition are the Lobos, and they're able to get it done. Listen, I'm gonna ride with the crew here. We're all going the Lobos here. Minnesota, man, oh gosh, you talk about a fall off, bro. Like, was it 2 years ago they were like 9-3 and had a chance to go 10-2 and like make the Big Ten championship or something wild and just fell flat on their face, and since then it's just been nothing. Like, they were so close, and I know it's Minnesota and it's one of those Big Ten teams or sometimes even SEC teams that fall into wins sometimes in a year because you have a good schedule and this and that, and then your team's senior led. But man, it was fun while it lasted for Minnesota because you were in the toilet now at 7-5 in the Big Ten. So yeah, I'm gonna go New Mexico as well. And the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, Friday the 26th at 7 o'clock. We have FIU and UTSA, the Roadrunners. Man, love me some Roadrunners. Looks like they're favored by 9.5 points in this one. 77% of America has picked them. Let's see. Who wants to go first here on this one? Chase, yes, you go.
Dude, FIU rattling off some wins to end the season, throwing a little 56 ski on Sam Houston State, 56 on NTSU another game ago, and then also beating Liberty, who's a very stout CUSA team typically. But did you hear what I said? I said CUSA. You know what that always means. Not ever going to be great if you're playing the CUSA. Stronger conference on the other side for the American Conference and UTSA. I think it's got to be the Roadrunners through and through. They play tougher competition. They're down just a game here. I think the Roadrunners should have this. Also, shout out McCown. That's oh my gosh, the actual McCown guy from the NFL. Doesn't he have like 12 kids? Like one for each jersey or something he played on.
I did hear that.
Something like that. I forget. But this is one of his kids. He's at UTSA playing ball at quarterback. He's had a pretty respectable season, 27-7. I think he gets him another win here.
Yeah, no. Look, we've been over this. CUSA. I don't even like picking the CUSA against the Sun Belt or the MAC. I'm definitely not like picking the CUSA against an American Conference team. On top of that, UTSA has got the best one of like easily like a top 5 mascot in all of college football.
Yes.
I adore, not that mascots matter when you're actually picking these things, but if you've been listening to my predictions, I use the roads in Toledo to justify a bowl. So the Roadrunner mascot, one of the best mascots in the sport. UTSA actually plays legitimate competition in the American. If I'm not mistaken, they blew out Tulane this year.
They did.
Yeah, so like, I mean, we're talking about playoff team Tulane here. You know what I mean? Like, so give me UTSA to get a relatively easy win over FIU.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, Quinn, that UTSA did, in fact, beat Tulane, who is a playoff team. Now, what all does that matter? Honestly, when you're talking about a team that's, 6-6, not much, right? Maybe you got lucky. Maybe your offense got hot. Your defense did something special. But UTSA is, I agree with you, Quinn, on the mascot thing. They're kind of like Western Kentucky to me, to where like I always want to see them succeed and do well, just because I do like them very much. So I think the Roadrunners get it done here as well. FIU, congratulations on a 7-5 season and making a bowl game. But I think you're going to go home empty-handed here in the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl.
Yeah, easy here. Mainly because Hauser for East Carolina, the quarterback, just jumped into the portal today, so they will be without him. And this game's also at 10 a.m. Did anybody else peek that one? A 10 a.m. football game. If you love football, you've got this one as soon as you wake up on Saturday. But I think Pitt has been a really good success story this year. They had some quarterback problems, changed over to Heinschel mid-year. They had a lot of with him. They did kind of get trounced between the two big teams, Notre Dame and Miami, to end the year. But regardless, I think this is a very solid Pitt team. This is a game to build on heading into next year. I think America and the 90% are correct. Quinn?
Yeah, Chase hit the nail on the head. This Pitt offense is going to put up points, especially when they're not playing a playoff caliber team or an almost playoff caliber team, and they chase a Notre Dame. And then you've got East Carolina, man. They're just battling with one arm tied behind their back without their quarterback. Now, I will say this: if this was who's going to bring the life of the party on campus during this bowl game, it'd be East Carolina, hands down. But on a football field, give me Pitt. They're going to run away. East Carolina can't keep up.
Yeah, I'm going Pitt as well. I just think that this is a team that, even though, as we know, Pitt. Right? Okay, hold on. Before I go into things, what do you think this line does now? Now, again, this graphic you're seeing above me was made a week ago.
Yep.
What do you think this line does now that the quarterback has opted out and is entering the transfer portal? Like, I think it'll drop 2 points.
I'm thinking probably about 5 points.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm going to go Pitt as well. It's going to be a clean sweep here for the guys at 3 Bold Takes. Let us know down below if you agree or disagree. We always love to hear from you. And moving on to the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. I always love this bowl game because I love the name Bad Boy Mowers. I just think it's a sick logo. The mowers are really cool as well. Not sponsored, by the way, but just a personal opinion of mine. And if you would have told me preseason that Penn State and Clemson were playing in a bowl game, I would have said it would have been second round of the playoffs, maybe semifinals potentially. No, they're delegated to a bowl game that's Saturday the 27th at 11 a.m. Looks like Clemson is a 3-point favorite currently. Quinn, how are you leaning in this one?
Yeah, I think it's, America was pretty spot on back in the summer. I saw a handful of people saying that Penn State was going to play Clemson this postseason in the national championship game. How hard these teams have fallen, man. Look, at the end of the day, I trust Dabo more than anybody to get a team up for a bowl game, no matter what level of bowl game they're playing in. I watched him a couple years ago when I thought they had no chance against a hot Kentucky team, and they came in and put Kentucky on skates. Okay, so I expect him to do a similar thing to this Penn State roster. Penn State, at the end of the day, there's a difference between like playing for a culture and a coach that you signed on to play with who puts ultimate faith in you versus playing in a school who's about to go through a complete transition. So give me Clemson to win this game.
Yeah, I think this was easy. You got to go Clemson here. Is Klubnik's last game most likely? I believe he's going to hit the draft after this. But also, Penn State is they've been up and down all season. You lose your coach. Drew Aller goes down with an injury. It doesn't matter much anyway because he's not that great of a quarterback. But your true freshman comes in and he's posting basically the same stats that Aller had to begin this season, but on better percentages and looks. I think Penn State will have a decent game. They've kind of had their mojo going since the UCLA loss. They've kind of picked up some wins here and there, but overall, just kind of a throwaway season. I think this is another game that you're just going to have to mark down as a loss. So give me Clemson. I agree with Quinn there on the Dabo. Dabo just does this thing in the postseason. He gets wins in bowl games and big postseason battles, and I think this is another one. Great brands to play in this game, by the way. Insane
Oh yeah.
Bad Boy Mowers Bowl, like great brands to play here. And it is insane to see that at the end of the season they are 7-5 and 6-6.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, this game's played in Yankee Stadium, which I think is just unreal.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it like Rutgers Miami in this bowl game last year?
I know Rutgers played in it, but I don't know if Miami did or not.
So huge upgrade.
Yeah, huge upgrade for brand. I'm going to go Clemson as well for the same thing that you guys said. I have, and this showed in the Clemson South Carolina game. Dabo can get the players up for games, even though the season is in turmoil. Now, would I be surprised if Penn State won this game, considering they actually finally hired a head coach? The players are going to want to play well because they're playing for their spot, hoping to get some tape, those sort of things. Same thing as in the regular season that we talk about whenever a coach gets fired and the team plays well for the interim in hopes that they can still be there next year, potentially. But I do think that Clemson overall, top to bottom, has a better talent pool at the current moment from what we've seen. Now, Penn State's right there as well, but considering the continuity on offense and defense that Clemson's going to have in this game, I'm going to ride with Clemson as well. And we just got done talking about the Yankee Stadium Bowl, per se, the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. Moving right along to the Fenway Bowl, which is played in Fenway Park. Again, I love these type of bowl games. It's a really cool atmosphere. It's different. It's a different location than what we're kind of used to for college football games. We have the Army Black Knights and the team that beat the ACC champ UConn. I'm going to say that again. The team that beat the ACC champ in UConn playing here. Army's a 3-point favorite in this game. Looks like 74% of America's picked UConn to win. Chase. Or actually, no. I want to hear from Quinn first on this one.
Yeah, I just got done. Look, shout out to UConn. Congratulations, you're basically the ACC champion. Good job on your season. Man, I was impressed with how Army played against Navy on Saturday, man. They put up a hard fight against the midshipmen, fell 17-16. They're going to be really physical up front against UConn. I think this is one of those games that America is a little bit off the pulse. They just see Naval Academy. They think, oh, they're not going to win this game. UConn is, believe it or not, a pretty big brand, just not for football. But you recognize that name when you hear it. And I think people are just kind of leaning a little bit in favor of UConn for that. When it's not like UConn's played a super hard schedule themselves, give me Army to win this game.
Yeah, I just looking through UConn. Shout out UConn because I think in the matter of like 3 to 4 years, they've come from the depths of college football all the way up to a 9-win respectful season for the Huskies. Like, just kudos to them, first of all. They don't always get a lot of talent over there at UConn, and I believe they're still an independent, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Quinn? Yeah, so they're still an independent. They're making up their own schedules, kind of like Notre Dame. But like, let me just if you watch any of our other videos and you heard me talk about the CUSA, you heard me talk about some of those teams. One of those I might have mentioned was Delaware. Early on this season, UConn did lose to Delaware. They escaped Florida Atlantic. They lost to Rice. Like they got 9 wins, but how did they get to those 9 wins? But let me just say this here. You're waking up on a frosty bowl game day. You're looking through the list of who's my team about to play. You never want to wake up and see one of the academies on the opposite end as an opponent for you. I tell you what, you are going to get hit in the mouth harder than you probably have all season long. I think this is Army through and through. It's going to be one of those gritty, nasty wins, I think, like they usually get. But the way, like, UConn is about to see a 5'4" white quarterback absolutely lace them on the ground and probably have a 4 flat 40. And they're going to be like, how in the world? He's going to fake the wishbone 3 different times and he's going to maybe toss one pass the entire game, but they're going to move that ball. They're going to have like 500 yards of offense. The academies just do so well in these bowl games because it's not something you see all the time. And a lot of offense has moved away from it. Georgia Tech used to do it really well. Georgia Tech has now progressed into the modern era of offenses. And so, but the academies, they stick to it. They stick through it. I like Army in this one.
I need to correct something. So the graphic again, Army -3. This game opened up at UConn -3.5. It is now Army -8.5. So you're talking about a 12-point swing from when this game opened to current betting odds on this game, which is unbelievable. Give me Army as well. I was very impressed in the way they played Navy, just like you said, Quinn. Also, Army's quarterback, I didn't know this. He threw for over 10,000 yards in high school, and now he's playing at Army where they don't throw the ball. So this kid can throw the ball, and I hope that eventually they let this guy air it out like we know that he can. UConn, congratulations. You came in last place in the independents. Yes, that is only second, so maybe you can say you came in second in all of the independents, last behind Notre Dame. So congratulations for that. 9 wins. I think they were winless a couple of years ago, maybe like 0-12 or maybe 1-11. Like when you talk depths, that's depths that you're coming out from. So shout out UConn for making a bowl game and going 9-3. But Army's going to be too much for you. And the Pop-Tarts Bowl, my goodness. This is one of the one of the more fun bowl games of all of bowl season is the Pop-Tarts Bowl. We've got Georgia Tech. We've got BYU. Looks like 73% of America has picked BYU. Current betting odds is BYU -4.5 in this one. Chase, you first.
Yeah, I'm really upset about this one, Freddie. Last season, we had the luxury as 3 bold takes to watch Georgia Tech and Haynes King up front in the Birmingham Bowl. We don't have that luxury this season, so I go to bed weeping a little bit at night knowing that they're going to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl instead. But hey, one of the favorite bowls that have come up in the last few years, just fun all around. So I think it's going to be a really great branding one for this game. BYU, Georgia Tech, some of the more prominent up and rising teams this year. BYU's been good, but BYU was a solid Big 12 team all year long. Georgia Tech kind of came out, was like, hey, we're going to be the ACC champs this year. Felt a little short. I really hate that I'm going to have to do this, but I'm going to have to go BYU. I think BYU's defense will do a lot better in this game here, but Georgia Tech has been on a downward trend the last few weeks since they hit their 8-0 mark. That was the big thing. They hit that, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, we're done playing football. I think they went 1-3 down the stretch. They got throttled by Pitt, lost a really ugly one to Georgia, their rival, and then squeaked out a win over Boston College. And hopefully I'm wrong, and Haynes King can go out a winner in his career. I love Haynes King. I love Brent Key. I love what they've done. But I think BYU does pull this out just because I think they have more talent, and I think they will be ready to play in this one.
Yeah, let's just call it what it was. BYU got shut down by an elite defense in their 2 losses. Like, that's what it is. Like, you look at how they played against that Texas Tech offense, they actually slowed Texas Tech's offense down pretty good in both outfits. It's just they had back-breaking, multiple turnovers both times they played Texas Tech and could not move the ball. And Texas Tech optimized off of, like, short field position or just took the ball in with their defense multiple times through both games. Georgia Tech, look, I love the story of Georgia Tech this year. I thought they had a legitimate playoff shot because they didn't have to play Miami in ACC play. Once they beat Clemson early in the year, I was like, oh, wow, this team could actually win the whole ACC because who do they really have to play? Well, they let it all fall apart in November, and that is what it is. I hate to see it. They put up a good showing against Georgia. Haynes King's super talented, but at the end of the day, I think what cost them more than anything is the whole team runs on Haynes King.
Yep.
And when did they start losing? November, after he had been beaten up for 2 months. Now, he's going to heal up some, and I think that BYU is going to get a better version of Georgia Tech than pretty much anybody in the month of November got. But I still think this BYU team is more tested. has seen better opponents, and is on an equal playing field coaching wise. I don't think there's a drastic coaching advantage either way in this game. But give me the talent and more tested team in BYU. And it's an absolute shame that this is not BYU versus Notre Dame. And I'll be making sure that I tune in and watch the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And I hope every single person watching this video does the same thing. Give some love to the Pop-Tart Bowl and show that bowl season still matters to some of us out here.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment you said, Quinn. We should be having Notre Dame and BYU. Man, I'm gonna go Georgia Tech in this game. I love Georgia Tech. I love Haynes King. I love the way they play. They had a great showing against Georgia, 16-9. It was an ugly game, but that's a game that Georgia Tech wants. Like they want that ugly snooze fest, hard fought game. Offenses can't really get going, but guess what? Haynes King, he's rested. He's had 3 weeks off now at this point. By the time the game would have been played, almost 4. Give me the Yellow Jackets. I think BYU's upset that they didn't make the playoffs. I'll be curious to see if we have any opt-outs as this game gets closer. And because of that, I think the Yellow Jackets are going to get it done down there in Orlando. Now, one of the other bowl games that we mentioned, the bowl game with Gronk. This is the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl between Miami, Ohio, and Fresno State. It looks like 91% of America has picked Fresno State. Currently, they're a 4.5-point favorite. Huge number of picks there for Fresno State so far. Quinn, let's go to you.
Yeah, I looked and I thought really hard on who I would like in this one. And I kind of put a lot of faith in Miami in their last matchup that they played in, and they let me down. And then I got to thinking, Snoop Dogg's favorite pastime, it's not allowed in the state of Ohio. It is allowed in the state of California, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's some celebration going on with the Fresno State guys afterwards that the Miami guys couldn't necessarily be a part of. But give me Fresno State to win this game exclusively on that.
That is
insane.
An insane breakdown right there, Quinn. I'm going to go with Fresno State, but for the fact that DeQuan Finn for Miami of Ohio has not been with the team the last couple games, he has decided to instead train to go to the NFL draft. An insane thing to say of stepping away from a group of 5 team to train for the NFL.
Not the group of 5 team, Miami of Ohio.
It could be the next Big Ben.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's either a lot of confidence or a very stupid agent that is telling him that. Anyway, so they're going to be without said quarterback. They really dropped the last a little bit of November, 3 losses in November, 1 in December as well. So I like Miami of Ohio. I like them a lot more last year. I think Fresno State is the stronger team, better opponent here. I think they're going to be able to handle. I like the Mountain West Conference as well. Who doesn't love some good action? Don't get me wrong. The action's good, but the Mountain West Conference, I think, is a little bit more stronger in this one. I'll give the edge to Fresno State for myself.
Well, let's be real. The MAC's really only better than the USA.
I didn't want to say it out loud.
But it was just said out loud by Quinn. So thank you for that. I'm going Fresno State as well. Quinn, honestly, I like your breakdown more than anybody's, to be honest with you. It's not football related. It's more extracurricular related. But
isn't that the primary motivation for most things?
There's motivating factors that are always external, and you're correct in that. So I'm going to ride with, I guess, all of us here for Fresno State, multiple for different reasons. But yeah, the quarterback from Miami, Ohio, good luck. I don't know what else to tell you. If I've never heard of you, you probably won't have a shot. But there's always a Mr. Irrelevant, right? So there's always that one. So we'll see.
People have never heard of Ben Roethlisberger. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a difference. And the Isleta, maybe. Never heard of what that is. If you know, leave it down below. I don't know what that is. But it's the New Mexico Bowl for now between North Texas, San Diego State. Saturday the 27th at 4:45. What a random time. That's like a freaking NFL game. Looks like North Texas favored by 3 currently. They opened up as a 6.5-point favorite, bet down to 3, and they have a 66% chance to win, and 87% of America has picked North Texas. Chase.
Yeah, I think this one's easy. I think it's the North Texas all the way. I haven't watched a whole lot of San Diego State ball this year. Don't get me wrong, but I think North Texas has been a very sound machine. Now we talked a lot about coaches leaving and already taking new jobs. Some that are still coaching, some that are not. I'm not sure if this coach is still coaching. Is he still coaching for North Texas, or is
I
he
have
had
no
already?
idea.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I still think North Texas, regardless, is more talented than the Aztecs. I think they've been a more sound machine this year. The Mean Green Machine. Anyway, I'm going to go North Texas through and through. I think their coach is sticking around from what I remember. I believe he's kind of pulling John Summerall and playing or coaching in this game before he goes over to Oklahoma State. So I think everybody is still there as well. I haven't seen any major transfer news from North Texas, but for me, at least, this is going to be North Texas. I think they've got this one.
Yeah, San Diego State's always a stout unit. I mean, North Texas was playing on another level. We're talking they're a better executed game away from being in the college football playoffs. I just this is a really sound unit out of the American Conference this year, and it's honestly an unlucky draw for a team like San Diego State. I'd have much rather watched like North Texas versus Boise State. That would have been a really good matchup for this postseason, but we didn't get that. So give me the Mean Green.
Yeah, I'm going Mean Green as well. I picked them to make the playoffs fairly early on, I guess, in the college football year this year. That did not happen. Unfortunately, they fell short to Tulane, but I think they are far more talented. And I love their quarterback. I assume he's playing. I hadn't heard anything about him opting out.
Yeah.
But I mean, throwing for over 4,000 yards this year. I mean, kid's a stud. So I like them in this game, high flying offense. The over under this one's 55.5 as well. So, we'll see. I would probably go over just because of the North Texas offense. They score a lot of points and score them quickly. So yeah, I think we're all going to ride North Texas to Mean Green here in this one.
All right, give me just a second. I'm gonna throw the cat out.
And moving on to the ACC SEC showdown. No, we're not talking college hoops. We're talking college football in a bowl game Saturday the 27th at 6:30. The Taxslayer Gator Bowl, to be specific. We have Virginia, number 19, ranked against Missouri, who is not ranked, as we know. They're 8-4 on the year. Coming into this game, Missouri is a 7-point favorite. Looks like they have a 65% chance to win, and 56% of America has chosen them as well in the Bowl Mania, if you're following along. Quinn.
Yeah, honestly, shout out to Virginia. What a great season. Coach has done a great job turning that program around. I think he will eventually land an even larger job out of what he's doing at Virginia. I expect them to still play good even next year. That being said, he's going against an absolute GOAT on the other sideline in the form of Eli Drinkowitz. Missouri is playing really good, solid football this year. Chase, good job, buddy. Thank you. Missouri's been playing absolutely really solid football this year. They got an unfortunate injury up against Vandy, and it kind of slowed them down a little bit. That being said, let's be real. Who is Missouri taking losses to? Vanderbilt, a 10-2 team. Oklahoma, a 10-2 team. Alabama, 10-3 team, all in the college football playoff. Okay. This Missouri roster is really solid. They're going to play an absolutely solid game plan against Virginia. I expect them to pretty much beat down on Virginia in this matchup. Give me Missouri by 10.
Yeah, I think this is one of those standard, is the SEC really good games in the bowl season where everybody puts all their chips in, is like, we're going to see how good SEC is against these other opponents. I think Virginia's had a wonderful season. But when you look at Virginia, you look at who they've played and look how they've squeaked out almost every win. I think a lot of these wins are between like 2 and 6 points, most of them. And they beat Florida State in like double, triple overtime, something crazy. And again, they've had a great season, one of the more remarkable seasons in their college history. or college football history. But it pains me to say this. As much as I hate Drinkwitz, as much as I hate Missouri, as much as I hate this yellow and black tiger in front of me, I think this is them through and through. All they have to do in this game is establish the line of scrimmage and run the ball. They've had a couple quarterbacks that have come in trying to fill in for Pribula. There's never been an insane quarterback under Drinkwitz while at Missouri. Brady Cook was good. He wasn't some elite prospect, but so I think it's just really simple. Hardy's been one of the best running backs in the SEC all season, if not the nation. Establish a line of scrimmage, handle it. I think this is an easy win. It's one of those like 25 to like 17 games. It should be an easy win. It looks a lot closer than it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm an SEC homer, so I'm going to go Missouri as well. I really like their front line or their front seven, to be honest with you. They honestly do have a very good defense. And that's the thing with Missouri this year, is their offense just has not been able to keep up. Like you said, Chase, their losses have been tight, and to very good competition as well. And their defense is the reason why they've been able to do that, and I think that's going to continue in this one. Virginia also, you got beat by Duke. Sorry. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah. So give me Missouri to win this one because I think they're just a far superior football team. And next up, we have the LSU Tigers and the Houston Cougars in the Kinder's Texas Bowl. That is Saturday the 27th as well at 8:15. Looks like Houston is currently favored by 3 points. And 58% of America has picked them. They do come into this game ranked 21st in the country at 9-3. Obviously, we know the whole LSU thing. Hires Lane Kiffin. They fired Brian Kelly. We all know this. Shout out to them for making a bowl game, 7-5. You should make a bowl game at LSU no matter what happens. So Chase, let's go to you first.
Yeah, this is a fun one. We just did the Missouri. Oh my gosh, the Missouri Virginia one, and I was kind of explaining like, well, what does it look like in the postseason when we're all discussing is the SEC really the best conference and all that jazz, right? Well, this is another one of those games. Is the SEC really good? And this is one of the games that you're going to fall to. I like Houston in this game. I really do. It feels kind of like the UCF Auburn game way back when UCF won their national championship. I was like, well, how good is the SEC? They can't be that good. They just lost to this thing. This LSU team is down. They did play a very close game against Oklahoma. I think they will play balls to the wall in this game. You're trying to show out for your new employer. You're trying to say, hey, Lane Kiffin, I deserve to be here. But a lot of these guys are out. Nussmeier's out. I don't know about Whit Weeks. I don't even know if he plays in this game, if he's healthy. He might. But you got a lot of guys, you're just playing in and out. You're just trying to put on your best. I think this will it's kind of like playing basketball and playing very individual, trying to score a bunch so you can get a better contract or something like that, right? I think a lot of these guys are going to be playing a lot more for themselves and for the team, more so to say, because like they're trying to make a roster spot next season. I think Houston, they've been performing well all year. You got Connor Weigman, who used to be an SEC quarterback at Texas A&M at Houston. He's like, hey man, I can play with these guys. Let me show it off. I think the Big 12 is significantly worse than the SEC. But I think Houston pulls off the upset in this one just because I think there's going to be a little bit more dysfunctionality on the LSU side. I think this is just one of those weird games where the SEC should easily win it talent-wise, all that stuff, but Houston takes it just because they want to be there a little more.
Yeah, let's get this out of the way real quick. Freddie, what a backhanded thing to say to congratulate LSU on a 7-5 season. There is no congratulate 7-5 season down on the Bayou. As far as LSU in this game, I don't want to phrase this as it would be an upset for Houston. I think it's disgraceful to compare it to the Auburn UCF game. That was a true upset. This would not be an upset at all. I think Houston's a solid team in the Big 12. They've been playing really good football. And if they drop this game, that would be an upset on their part. As far as the players missing, look, yeah, I think you're going to get an inspired effort from the guys at LSU who want to maintain a roster spot. And frankly, Nussmeier not being there probably helps LSU, all things considered. I don't expect Whit Weeks to play, though. I think he'll be a little bit busy celebrating his new coach's arrival. Just saying. That being said, give me Houston to win this game by about 8 points.
Dang, okay. All right, so you got Houston by 8. Wow. I don't really know about this game, dude. Like Houston, yes, they're 9-3, they're ranked 21st, but I mean, listen, they They lost to TCU. They lost to West Virginia. Um, it's not like they're a great football team, right? Like it's not like they're 21st ranked 9-3, like a traditional 9-3 team. You look at the 9-3 teams last year, a lot of them were ranked 12, 13, 14, 15. And this year we've got Houston down there at the bottom at 21, and that's no disrespect at all. But 9-3 in the Big 12 against especially the competition that they played is not that great to me. Looks like ESPN's FPI has LSU winning by 67.5% chance for LSU to ride with them. This is one of the few times that I'm actually going to buckle down and go with the FPI here. I'm going to go LSU. I just think they're deeper, and I know that that's such a shallow thing to say, but it's the truth. Like Houston, ever since they got into the Big 12, this is one of their better years. At 9-3. They came with Cincinnati and UCF, I believe, the same year, jumping into the Big 12 from the Group of 5. So shout out them for doing that and going 9-3 and being ranked. But I'm going to go LSU here. I just think there's more talent on that side. I don't care if one player on the defense doesn't play. Their defense is still loaded. And I do think that they are a far superior defense than probably anything that Houston's played in the Big 12 minus one or two teams. So give me LSU to get the job done and pull off the upset. In the J-Lab Birmingham Bowl, which the Three Bowl Takes crew typically always goes to every year, disappointed in the team selection this year, going to be quite honest with you. However, we're going to make the most of it. We've got Georgia Southern and App State. Georgia Southern comes into this game as a 4.5-point favorite. 80% of America has chosen them. And let's see, the ESPN FPI has them winning 55%. So, Quinn, let's sling it over to you.
Yeah, look, I mean, shout out to the Birmingham Bowls. They were having to put up missing people's posters all over the United States to try and fill an opponent for Georgia Southern. And App State said, you know what? We hate them enough. We'll show up. And there we go. We got Georgia Southern, App State, a good old rivalry game from the Sun Belt. That being said, look, there's a reason Georgia Southern got a bowl bid right off the bat, and the Birmingham Bowl had to come on hands and knees begging App State to fill in a second spot. Give me Georgia Southern to win this game.
Yeah, App State comes into this one reeling 1-4 since October 25th in their last 5 games. They lost to Georgia Southern in that stretch by 2. So it was a close one, but that was at home at App State. And like Quinn said, that's the biggest thing here. App State was like, I think I saw Birmingham Bowl asked like 7 people. They asked like Auburn. Who else did they ask? They asked like Florida State was another one. A bunch of teams that
Florida.
5-7. Who?
I believe Florida and Mississippi State were also on that list.
Yeah, so you had a bunch of 5-7 teams, and like App State wasn't also the first one off the block that they got. They were like the 10th team they called. So I think this would be Georgia Southern through and through. But how fun is this? A Sun Belt matchup, a little bit of a rivalry, a little bit of a fun one here. But I'll take Georgia Southern.
Yeah, it's gonna be a clean sweep here for the Three Bowl Takes crew. I'm going Georgia Southern as well for the same thing that you guys said. App State does not deserve to be in a bowl game at 5-7. And honestly, any of those teams that they would have asked to come play didn't deserve to be in that game. It was just a courtesy. Hey, you're somewhat local, less of a travel. We're going to ask you big brand, SEC, whatever. And they settled on App State. And that's no disrespect at App State. Now, they're a great brand in the G5. Like, we know of App State and we know the history that they have. So it's a somewhat decent pull. However, I still think that Georgia Southern is just a better football team.
Let's get this out of the way, though. A 5-7 SEC or ACC team is not the same thing as a 5-7 Sun Belt team.
No, I 1,000% agree, but that doesn't mean they deserve a bowl game. That's all I'm saying. And the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl, we have Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Tech. Looks like Louisiana Tech currently comes into this game as an 8.5-point favorite in this one. 87% of America has chosen them as well. So, Chase, we'll sling this over to you first.
Yeah, this one's just easy. We got the CUSA here in Louisiana Tech, and then we got the Sun Belt with the Chanticleers. And this is the one time we're going to say, hey, if you don't hammer the CUSA team, you might be stupid. The Chanticleers have been on the ropes. They've lost the last 3 games. And the last two they put up 17 points and gave up like 110, it looks like. Now, granted, one of those is South Carolina, but anyway.
And
6
one
and
was a
6
playoff team in JMU.
And come on, James Madison. The 6-6 Coastal Carolina said, you know what? 6-6 isn't good enough for us. We're going to fire you, head coach. Head coach is gone. They barely beat out Georgia State by 10 points. Georgia State's won one game all year long. 0-8. I mean, just this is one of those games where you're like, man, I really wish Coastal Carolina might have been traded out for a 5-7 scrappy team, like a really, really scrappy team to play, because I don't think Coastal Carolina is going to have much of life here. So I'm going to give this one to Louisiana Tech by double digits.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Chase. I was expecting you to get on here and preach the normal stay away from the CUSA message that you but yeah, no, Louisiana Tech actually had a pretty strong year. Coastal Carolina limped into this position, and they're having to travel into Louisiana Tech's backyard. Everything sets up. If out of all of the bowl games the CUSA is in, this is their most likely bowl win.
Got
right?
him.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with you guys as well for Louisiana Tech. Coastal Carolina, man, that they were a great story about 3 or 4 years ago, and ever since then have slowly but surely fallen down the cliff to the point of where they're at now, 6-6. Hey, shout out to Teal Field. It's cool, but you got to win some football games if you're gonna have something crazy like that. Boys, let me tell you, if you do not like the color orange, stay away from college football on Tuesday the 30th at 4:30. I'm talking the Music City Bowl between that god-awful orange from Tennessee and a little bit better orange from Illinois. Looks like Tennessee is actually going to come into this game as a 2.5-point favorite. Wow, it opened up as 6.5 for Tennessee, has since dropped down to 2.5. Looks like they have a 67% chance to win, and 86% of America has chosen them. Quinn.
Yeah, well, one, shout out to Illinois. It's not going to be too terrible of a travel for them, but I still feel bad because there's enough Tennessee fans in the city of Nashville alone to pack that stadium for volunteers. Here's what I want. Anything could happen in this football game, and if Brett Bielema doesn't give Josh Heupel a black eye, disappointing.
Fair enough.
That's what I want. That's the drama I need in my life. That being said, I had a lot of hope in Illinois coming into this year, and when they blew out Duke, I was like, oh wow, maybe I'm right about Illinois. Like, the what? The UConn beat Duke, and it was like either the next week or a week after that, they got absolutely slaughtered by Indiana for everyone to watch. And I'm gonna be real with you, I haven't really paid much attention to Illinois since that day.
I don't think anybody has.
It kind of lost I know they beat USC, but USC was like 4 or 5 major players out sick on a road game playing you in your stadium, and you won by a last second field goal. So and that's your big hat win for the season. So, now I can hit you with the counter of who is Tennessee's real big win this year. Every big game they've played in, they've dropped it. And you could say the same about Missouri when we were talking them Virginia, but at least Missouri was in those games with their big opponents. They played A&M close. They played Bama close. They played Oklahoma close. They played Vandy close. Tennessee got bullied by their little nerd brother in their own house the last time I watched Tennessee.
Yeah.
But Heupel seems to get his boys to play come bowl season. So give me Tennessee to get this one done. I think Josh Heupel brings a little bit of extra juice. And at the end of the day, I think this game being in Nashville just kind of carries the day for Tennessee. I'm on the boat of ban Tennessee from the Music City Bowl.
I real quick, Chase, Tennessee's biggest win is at Florida, I would say. They snapped the streak of winning on the road down there. But
I actually really like this game. I was super high on Illinois this year. I was super big on them beating Indiana, and I was super wrong on that. I watched that one as well. Quinn mentioned how the entire world watched. Chase sat in terror as the Hoosiers dismantled Brett Bielema and Illinois. So, but also I was like, man, the past few years watching Tennessee just evolve, it has now seemed like they have de-evolved, I guess, if that's the word. Josh Heupel, I love his system. I love his offense, but it just seems to be like it's becoming a shell of itself. They're still a good team. Don't get me wrong. They're a solid team, but in the SEC, they've just not been good enough. What we saw of Josh Heupel a few years ago, definitely when they beat Alabama, was like this could potentially be a top 3 team. This could be a monster of a team. Oh yeah, like that year we were thinking like, hey, this could be a very good ball team for years to come, and they've only gotten worse since that point. I don't know if it was the Nico Maliava stuff that's really set them back. If they didn't get their quarterback this year, and Aguilar has filled in really well, and their offense has been good, but it's not been that high flying Josh Heupel. Oh my gosh, like it is going to be this terror to guard, or defend against. So, and I really like Illinois and Luke Altmaier. Altmaier, a former Ole Miss Rebel, who's whenever been very successful in the Big Ten, one of the best marksmen in the country. At one point, him and Ty Simpson, I believe, were both like the only quarterbacks to have like 15 plus touchdowns or something like that, and no turnovers at all, no fumbles or interceptions. So he's one of the more accurate quarterbacks, and he limits his turnovers, which is really good. That's what I love about him. And also Brett Bielema's defense, I really like, is the secondary. The front seven is nothing to really just get excited over. Their solid bunch, but the back end usually is a pretty well done group. They've had a lot of NFL draft picks out of there the last few years. I'm actually going to ride with Illinois in this one. I like Altmaier. I like what he's doing, and I think Tennessee is just one of those kind of like sputtering teams. I think they're good and they have the talent to get it done. But I'm going to ride with Illinois to get the upset in this one.
Hey, Freddie, if you don't mind me jumping in real quick just to defend Tennessee here.
Go ahead.
They stepped back. I mean, they were really good in 22. They took a step back in 23. They were a playoff team 24. Then they have a bunch of dysfunction in the offseason. No one has any expectation for them, and they still go 8-4. I don't really think this was a bad year.
It's not a terrible year. Like 24, yes, they made the playoffs. Everybody's gonna like point to that. But I think when you look at that game, how competitive were they really? And were they truly? Because I think there were talks last year of like, why is Tennessee in over XYZ teams, you know? And when you look at it, how good was that team really? How competitive were they? And I think they were a solid team.
They were no less competitive than Oregon was the very next week against the same team.
I just think with the Hendon Hooker team that you had that team that was like, we could be talking about Tennessee playing in SEC championships, and we've not seen that. Like, they were the 9th, 8th best team in the SEC this year. And that's like, I'm thinking that when Josh Heupel took over with Hendon Hooker, they're going to be a top 5 team here on out as long as Heupel's at the helm. And I've heard like people wanting Heupel out because of like how just stagnant they've kind of been. Maybe there's just the offseason woes that they had that made them really set back this year.
Well, I mean, I'll say this, like, you could talk about off-season woes all you want, but after the first 3 or 4 weeks into the year, when we saw how well Joey Aguilar was playing compared to Nico, it was like, hey, they did the right thing. Like, they won this deal, and like they're going to prepare themselves, and propel themselves forward. So, Chase, I understand what you're saying, in that, because we were talking about that within the first 3-4 weeks of the year, compared to in the off season. But I still think Tennessee's going to win the game. I think they're a better football team than Illinois. I was impressed. The thing about this year compared to last year for Tennessee is last year their defense was able to get stops when they needed to so that their offense could score. This year their defense took a step back, and that's what's been more disappointing, I would say, because coming into this year, if you look at last year, high expectations on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, you had the dysfunction on the offense, but you kind of knew that the defense was going to be able to show up and perform, and that has not been the case this year. So I understand that sentiment there. That's the biggest disappointment to me. But home game pretty much for Tennessee. I think they're better coached. I think they have a better roster. And so that's why I think that Tennessee is going to win the game, along with about 86% of America. Now, separate from that, which one of these two teams has the better color orange?
Illinois.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
It's Tennessee, if you ask me.
Wow.
And Alabama fan, come on.
It's unique. Look, I got to give them credit where credit's due. No one else has that bold of an orange.
That burnt of an orange, yeah.
Not Burt. Bold.
And we're 3 bold takes, so I mean, I guess that counts. But yeah, no, definitely Illinois has the better orange. And the Valero Alamo Bowl. Now, I got to be honest with you. Every time I hear the word Valero, I think of a sketchy gas station. But they have sponsored a bowl game between USC and TCU. It looks like currently USC is coming into this game as a 5.5-point favorite. 88% of America has picked USC in this one. Let's see. Let's go Quinn. Or no, let's go Chase first.
Oh, that was very anyway, I think this one's easy. I think it's USC. They've had a very quiet, great season all year long. They're playing in a harder conference. Lincoln Riley, I think, has stepped up to the plate. I've been very adamant about how terrible USC is, and they've lived off their brand for so long. And Lincoln Riley's not a great coach. But this year, they've had a very quiet, great season in the Big Ten, something that's really hard to do. Lost to Oregon in the final few weeks, but outside of that, played really strong ball, beat out some really good opponents. I watched a couple of their late games and watched them have to also face some adversity and coming back against Nebraska, against Iowa. So they've done a really good job. They have some superstars over there. Makai Lemon is one of them. I think he just won the Blinkentoff Award over Jeremiah Smith, if I'm not mistaken, either. Best receiver in college football. Not sure if that is what I would have chosen, but hey, Lemon has still been a great player. And Mavi, the quarterback, has just been exceptional this season. Only 8 turnovers. I think TCU's been pretty good as well. I've liked what they've done. A good, quiet bounce back season as well for Sonny Dykes. But at the end of the day, I think the Trojans are going to take this one, and hopefully they can continue to build off this, and we can see them not only just be a brand, but a very strong team like they were in the 2000s.
Yeah, the thing I'm impressed with USC this year is how they've been winning. For those of you who haven't really been paying attention, this has been a very physical USC team. This is easily, out of all the Lincoln Riley teams, Oklahoma teams included, this is the most physical Lincoln Riley football team I've ever watched. And I think he's starting to kind of adjust his coaching methods. And USC could become a legitimate threat going forward to be like a playoff caliber team, especially in a conference like the Big 12 the Big 10, where there's not that many high-end competitors year in, year out. All right, now that being said, TCU has had a strong bounce back year. And TCU is one of those teams coming this bowl season that I wouldn't personally want to see in a bowl game. They're going to play fiery. They didn't have any lofty expectations for the year, and they're stoked to be where they're at. USC wins the game. Give me the Trojans.
Yeah, I same as you guys. I'm going to ride with USC as well. I've been very impressed with Lincoln Riley and his defense. Listen, I'm a USC guy. I've come on here year after year and defended USC and Lincoln Riley for the longest time. Had them in playoff predictions and that sort of thing. But I think this is the first year where I've seen some sort of life in the fact that going forward they may be able to put something out there on the defensive side besides just 11 traffic cones, which this year they've been able to show that that's possible. So shout out to them for actually doing that. And going 9-3, I'm going to ride with USC as well. I don't think TCU is that great of a football team, and I say that USC's ranked 16th. They have one more win than TCU does. However, their schedule is far superior. In that the conference is far superior as well. So if you look at records, like these two teams are pretty close, but you got to have context and who USC has played. And who TCU has played. So for that, I'm going to go USC as well. In the ReliaQuest Bowl, we have Iowa. And we have Vandy, who should have made the playoffs, says some people, Chase included. Pavia should have won the Heisman, says some people, Chase included. Not me, though. It looks like currently, yep, that's right. Vandy is a 5.5-point favorite in this one. This is Wednesday the 31st at 11 o'clock. Quinn, we'll go to you.
Have you ever seen a bigger crybaby in your life than Diego Pavia when he lost the Heisman Trophy? He boo-hoo, whined, and complained so much. Very beta, honestly. Really beta of him.
Not an alpha like he wants to be. Exactly. Fernando Mendoza is an alpha.
Exactly. Just putting that out there. Now, that being said, if Diego plays, which I expect he will, Vandy actually has offense to go with their defense that Iowa cannot regularly bring to the table. However, and I dare any of you to go look this up, Iowa, pretty solid team when they play against SEC opponents in bowl games, which they do often.
Mm-hmm. It was Tennessee
Now,
a few years back, I believe.
yeah. Every bit of logic tells me that Vandy's going to win this game. They've played so good this year. But I also know that when egotistical maniacs don't get exactly what they want, they start whining, complaining, and they kind of play like absolute garbage. So give me the Iowa Hawkeyes to force at least 3 turnovers and beat the Vanderbilt Commodores 17-13 in one of the ugliest bowl games you've ever seen.
Vandy should be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Fernando Mendoza only won the Heisman because Indiana is undefeated.
We act like him doing what he's done at Indiana is no different.
I think they kind of have a similar story. I'll say that. They have a similar story as of like Indiana's never done this. He's bringing them back to relevance, and which he did. It's great.
He's bringing them to relevance, not back to. I think there was no higher relevance.
Vandy, making a team like Vandy good, something that is almost improbable, but I'll put Indiana on the same structure. But statistically, in watching the game, Diego Pavia has carried Vandy through and through on almost every step of the way. If they won games, it was on the back of Diego Pavia. I don't think you looked at it the same for Indiana with Mendoza. Anyway, I'll leave that there. I will say this. Iowa's a very stout team. They always are. There's probably 2 cornbread eating white linebackers in the middle that are just ready to rear and go. They'll end up being very solid guys in the NFL at one point. They're probably going to have a tight end that you've never heard of. It's going to go in the 17th round of the NFL draft and then end up being a superstar in the NFL. It's just how it goes. Iowa's a very good team. They always are. They played Oregon very tight. They played USC tight. USC had to come back and win that game. I believe Oregon had to as well. Correct. I think Vandy, what I'll say is Vandy has the offense through and through. Vandy should be spanking Iowa over their little knee. I'll tell you that. But I think Vandy also is going to run into a wall of Iowa that they've seen defenses in the SEC, but I think they're also going to they're going to expect Iowa to kind of roll over because they're non-SEC based team. I don't think Iowa's going to do that. I think Iowa's a very, very, very good ball team that plays very sound defense and knows how to really make their opponents collapse. I think that's the biggest thing. And I love Diego. I do. I loved him a lot more before this whole Heisman thing. I think he was a little bit of a crybaby about it. I think he was very selfish about it. I think that's the biggest thing. And where's your mind at? Is it me or is it we? Are you coming to this game saying, hey, if this is my last ball game ever, let's go win it for the University of Vanderbilt or Vanderbilt University, my apologies. Or are you more focused on, well, I didn't win the Heisman. I got to go put up 500 to show them who's boss. I got to run for 100 and put up 6 touchdowns. I'll tell you what, you're not going to do that against Iowa's defense regardless. Not even if you think you're Superman. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a very tight contest. I think it is going to be nasty. What would be better in this game is if it rained just something horrible and it was just a mud bowl, basically. That would be a lot of fun to watch. I think Vandy has the talent. I think it is going to be a very slow start to the first half because they think Iowa's just going to roll over. I think it's going to be a 4-quarter game all the way through. I think it's going to be a 24-20 type game, and I think it's Vandy getting a late touchdown to do so. So give me Vandy, Pavia, because I've been riding with them all season, but I think Iowa's going to make it a really fun game to watch.
Hey, Freddie, Chase teed it up perfectly. It's going to be the quarterback's mentality, we versus me. What do you think his mentality is going to be?
I think it's definitely going to be me. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, one thing I know about Iowa is they will not lay down. They never have, and they never will. And Vandy, listen, the last time that we saw a team in the position like Vandy where they feel like they got snubbed and all this and that, Florida State. And what happened to them? 63-3. That's the largest bowl loss in history. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but all I'm saying is that if you have your coach, your athletic director, your quarterback, your strength coach, all this crying, moaning, and complaining, you're not going to win a football game. Because in the back of your mind, you're still going to have that in your mind. Like, man, we shouldn't even be in the ReliaQuest Bowl, man. We should be in so-and-so. We should be in College Station playing Texas A&M. This is crap. Well, guess what? You're going to get mollywopped by Iowa. Iowa's put up 40-plus points 3 times this season. Quinn, when's the last time that happened?
Probably like 2003.
20 years ago? Like, they have an offense. And Vandy, it's not like Vandy has a lockdown defense either. So give me Iowa. I think they roll in this game. I don't think Vandy comes prepared. I don't think Pavia comes prepared. I think he's going to try too hard to prove a point, and that's going to be the detriment of him, as he's going to actually play such a poor game because of that. So give me Iowa to roll. I love my Hawkeyes. And the Tony the Tiger Bowl. Everybody loves Tony the Tiger, right? Like, I remember him as a kid watching the commercials. It is an awesome, awesome bowl game. Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, to be exact. We have Arizona State and the ACC champion, the Duke Blue Devils. Still, unbelievable statement to come out of my mouth. Looks like Duke is a 2.5-point favorite coming into this one. 60% of America has picked Duke as well. Chase, how you feeling?
Yeah, I really like this one, and I really don't like this one. It's Monday, December 15th when we're talking about it. Sam Levitt has been out for Arizona State for a while now, talking about transferring. Just saw today that Mensa is planning to enter the transfer portal as well, so he's probably not going to be playing for Duke. So we got really solid brands over the past couple of years without their starting quarterbacks, which would make it so. Like, think about Sam Levitt and Daria Mensah playing each other. Or Mensa playing each other. Like, this would be a high-flying, high-toting balls down the field every single time that they're on offense. It'd be a lot of fun. I'm a big Sun Devils fan, man. I think they've been a really good brand. I love how Kenny Dillingham has really just coached up his team. He's gotten his players to play. He's also, and maybe this is another video at another time, but he's allowing his guys, even who enter the transfer portal, to still play in this game if they want tape, if they want film, stuff like that. That's the first time I've heard of any coach doing that. Me personally, you're kicked to the curb, but hey, he's keeping those guys around. I'm going to ride Arizona State in this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Duke did end up becoming the ACC champion. Congratulations to them. But I think Arizona State can get it done.
Yeah, this is a devilishly good matchup between these two teams, if I do say so myself. That being said, I'm rolling Arizona State, and I'll put it plain and simple for you. If Duke was playing an ACC team, they're winning this freaking game. Duke's 7-2 against the ACC. They're 1-3 outside of ACC play. So if you're telling me that we're rolling two teams without their quarterbacks in what is essentially the tryout game for the Michigan head coach job, from what I've been hearing, give me Arizona State. I think they're a better culture team than Duke is, and I like the Sun Devils to get it done.
Yeah, congratulations, Duke, ACC champs. Thank you for proving me and Quinn right a long while ago that they'd win the ACC. Now, we did think that they'd make the playoffs. However, you lost to UConn, which really screwed those odds up. But I think Arizona State's a better coach team. I think they have better depth. We've seen the low point in Duke this year, and it's bad. It's real, real bad. And the low point for Arizona State is bad, but it's not as bad. Therefore, I think the floor for both of these teams, I like Arizona State in this one, and I think the highs by far is for Arizona State. So no matter how these two teams play, I think Arizona State's going to be able to get it done. And the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Now, this game got a whole lot more interesting after what's happened the past few days with former Michigan head coach Jerome Moore. And this game's between Michigan and Texas. Texas started off when I made this graphic a 4.5-point favorite. Now they're currently 7.5. This is the Wednesday the 31st at 2:00. Man, sad days for Michigan ahead. But Quinn, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, I expect that spread to climb a little bit more. There's just a lot of dysfunction going on up in Ann Arbor right now. A lot of gray clouds up there. It is wintertime in Michigan. Texas, really good team. Feels like they should have been in the playoff. And unlike some other SEC teams that feel like they should have been in the playoff, I think Texas has a clear head with a focused mission. I like Texas to come in and kind of make an embarrassment out of this Michigan team in the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yeah, if you'd talked to me before all this happened, I would have picked Michigan most likely. Michigan really gets up for their bowl games. They did it last year against Alabama. They really set the tone there. And I'm actually last year was a hater of Michigan. They ended up beating Alabama in the bowl game. This season kind of coming in a little more. I was like, okay, maybe Michigan will be good. They ended up with a great season. They lost Justice Haynes along the way and still put out a great offense on the field. Underwood, a true freshman, 18, 19-year-old kid, has looked good and is only going to grow more. And so in this one, I'd have probably picked Michigan, but with everything going on, they're also considering does Underwood now go back to LSU like he was supposed to in the first time he committed. So there's just a lot of turmoil going on. I'm with Quinn. I think Texas absolutely rolls in this one. I don't think it's going to be close. I think it's one of those kind of maybe, what was the game? Probably the Alabama-Kansas State game that I'm kind of thinking of. Maybe Alabama-Oklahoma games in the bowl games where it's like, hey, we deserve to be in the playoffs. We're not in the playoffs. Let's show you what we could have done in the playoffs. And just kind of put that on their resume when some of these other teams kind of falter inside the top 12. That Texas can say, yeah, look at this brand that we just absolutely demolished. So I think it's going to be a nasty one.
Yeah, Quinn, I'm glad you brought up that other SEC team as well, because very similar to Texas. They feel that they should be in the playoffs, but I haven't heard them mope, cry, and complain about it like Vandy has. And because of that, I think they are a little bit more prepared. And also, listen, you thought Michigan was down bad with the Connor Stallions thing. Listen, we need to get a 30 for 30 on the downfall of the Michigan Wolverine brand and the just athletic department as a whole, because there's been some crazy stuff going on up there. They've known about this for over a year, and they waited to fire him till after signing day. Like, there's a lot of stuff here that we need to know about, even dating back to pre-Connor Stallions, where there was still the Jim Harbaugh incidents during COVID, breaking rules and things like that. So we need to get some investigating going on, and there needs to be some serious issues and penalties handed down for Michigan, because it's one thing after another.
Yeah, I want to start with the beginning of 2021 and run it through the firing of 4.
Yeah, I think it would do numbers. It's great. Everybody needs the real truth. But in the real truth in this game is that Texas is going to absolutely roll. I don't think Michigan has a shot in this one. So yeah, give me the Longhorns in this one. Congratulations on a 10-win season there for the Texas Longhorns.